Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell! Give 'em a hand! And let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Come on and meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town, of New York town.
How's it going, Mets and baseball fans? Thank you all so much for chiming in for the latest live stream, second on the day. My goodness, I'm trying to think about how many live streams we've done just over the past 48 hours. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I don't even know. We've done a lot. That's what I do know. And there's a lot to get into today, because odds are we're going to see a flurry of moves by midnight tonight or leading up to it, because we have the tender deadline, which is at 8 p.m. Eastern time, a half hour from being live right now. The Mets have already non-tendered a player that we'll be getting into shortly. We'll be getting into more on the Mets free agent targets from what we know and what has been a rather quiet day to this point. But again, we can expect things to pick up, because naturally there aren't going to be too many moves I don't expect tomorrow. Again, we'll see, because with the CBA expiring tomorrow just before midnight, that means that you need enough time to get physicals in and all these kind of things for signing a player. So it really looks like tonight and then going into tomorrow morning, we'll wrap things up on free agency until the lockout will be over with. But we have a lot to get into, like I said. But before I go any further, I just want to shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you all so much for being here. I'll get to tweets and stuff like that momentarily. But I see Sam, Blue, Jacob, Matthew, Charlie, Kyle, great member on the channel, Jack, great member on the channel, Alex, Tom, Darren, great friend and subscriber on the channel, William, great member on the channel, Anthony, Joseph, all you guys, Mad Max Scherzer, Charlie, Legendary Watermelon, Steven, Jose, Chris, $5 donation here from Dave. Dave, thank you so much, my man. Hype in the chat for Dave. Get me, Brian, you and I both. Yes, I know that there's been a lot of rumblings with Brian. We'll touch on all the latest regarding that in tonight's live stream too, and just share our initial thoughts further on what I initially discussed in earlier's live stream on Javy Baez going to the Tigers. Marco, Reginald, Cameron, Johnny, Ian, Alex, Furman, all you guys, thank you all so much for chiming in. Zeppi, Frank, again, if I miss any comments, questions, or concerns, please don't take it personally, folks. I know we got a lot of people in here. We're going to continue to get a lot more people in here. We got a lot to get into. So let's just dive right in, everybody. Again, hype in the chat. If you are just chiming in, make sure to help us get to 12K subs. If we do get a 12K within probably the next day or two, we will be doing a third giveaway on the channel. We have 2 giveaways coming on the channel this week. A third one would be added if we do get a 12K. So there's some incentive that, of course, help us get a 300 likes for the first short-term goal here in the stream. But, folks, we got a lot going on. We got a lot. And I got some rants that I got to go on in regards to the MLB as a whole. Not so much with the Mets, obviously, but regarding the MLB. But I do see that, give me Lewis Brinson now. Lewis Brinson was DFA'd. Interesting. Talk about a guy that fell short. If you guys don't know Lewis Brinson, the outfielder from the Miami Marlins, has been a very big guy that was hyped up, a huge prospect originally when he was acquired by the Miami Marlins. I'm trying to think. I think he was that key piece in the Christian Yelich trade, if my memory is not mistaken, with the Milwaukee Brewers. And, Lewis Brinson did have himself a key home run against the New York Mets in 2021. He definitely had some good at-bats, but he, at this point, still in his mid-20s, has struggled to find a groove as an everyday MLB player. So we'll see what comes up of him. He's definitely a guy that I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him because he does have great speed, has a lot of good tools. So maybe we can fix him. I'm not sure. But again, throughout the live stream, we can expect a bunch of people to be non-tendered, DFA'd, guys are going to be traded. And again, we already know that there's one person that has been non-tendered today for the Mets, and that's Robert Gazelman. And guys, make sure to update me throughout the live stream as we go through it, because of course, when it comes to the non-tenders, the Mets have at least 2 more that they got to do because they're 2 over the 40-man on the roster. So ideally, there's 2 other spots, and I'm going to go on the assumption that might be a Joey Lucchesi and a Trevor Williams, even though I don't want to see Joey Fuego, Mr. Churv, go as he's rehabbing from Tommy John surgery. And no, I don't want to see necessarily Trevor Williams go because he still has a minor league option on his contract, but the Mets don't have room in their roster right now. So we're going to see what other non-tenders that they will be doing. Again, we have until 8 p.m. Eastern time, so just 20 minutes away. So I figured let's get live a little bit before that and see what happens all across the league. Again, it looks like that we might get some significant moves tonight. I don't know exactly if we're going to get any news regarding the New York Mets. I hope so. That'd be awesome. But things have been quiet. And I will say, however, that if the Mets are playing stealthy, then this could be a good thing. When you look at the Mark Cannas, the Starling Martes, and the Eduardo Escobars, position player-wise, there was no build-up for the Mets signing those guys. Yes, the Mets had interest in Marte that was reported before they signed him, but still there really wasn't much build up to actually landing them. So again, I don't know exactly how much of a likelihood there is for the Mets to land players before the lockout anymore, but they are still active. They are still interested on numerous players, as has been reported through John Heyman earlier today. And we'll get through a lot more on that here in the live stream. But again, shout out everybody to my 500 viewers. Thank you all so much for first chiming in. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe on if you're enjoying the stream, if you guys are ready. Shamanaya might get non-tender. No, there's no chance Shamanaya gets a non-tender. I do not believe that for a second. They cannot. There's no way that there isn't a trade market for him beforehand. That would be absurd. Andrew, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I love all the activity this week. What a great Christmas present for Mets fans. Yes, couldn't agree more. Andrew, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Hype in the chat to my boy Andrew with the $5 dono. Always appreciated, my man. Thank you so much for that. I do know that some of you guys that are coming in right now are really still understanding the news of Javy Baez being parted with the Mets, that they split ways. Baez went to the Tigers. So if any of you guys did not check out that previous live stream earlier today, please make sure you do, because it holds true on everything regarding Baez, and I expressed all the reasons as to why we had a falling out party on that end to this point. And again, if further details come out, I'll make sure to address them. But guys, everyone, first in the chat to my, we're getting upwards of 600 viewers now. How are you guys feeling about the Mets and the position that they are in right now? Do you think that they are going to make any moves tonight? That is the first thing that I want to know from everyone in the chat, guys. So again, continue to smash that like and subscribe on. I am going to go and put a poll in the live stream as we speak. We're over 100 likes already. Thank you so much, guys. Help us get a 300 for the next short-term goal in the live stream. I'm going to put a poll in the stream and ask you guys if you think any significant moves are going to happen tonight for the Mets. If you think they're going to make any signings. All right, putting that in there right now. Thank you so much, everyone, for the donations already. You guys are absolute. I love you guys. You have no idea how much I appreciate every single one of you guys. It has been a whirlwind of the past couple of days. I'm still, a little like this because it's been sleeping and streaming. There's been no in between at all. But it's rightfully so with the deadline and everything leading up to the lockout now, the non-tender deadline. So much is going on. So we got to obviously be up to date with everything. And couldn't even justify making any individual videos. We'll get back more on the individual video grind once we get the lockout in. Then there will be a plethora of normal videos and a lot of, top 5 or top 10 discussions that we've done previously. So stay tuned for them. I really like those in-depth videos. But right now, all we got to talk about is what's going on. What about biscuits? I want biscuits. Shout out to you, Richie. Hope you're doing well. But guys, okay, a lot of you guys are saying no. Some of you guys are saying yes in regards to the Mets making moves tonight, at least. Again, I think that there's still optimism. I think that we could potentially see the Mets make some moves tonight, picking up guys off, that were non-tendered from opposing teams. I think there's going to be some really key players from opposing teams that we're going to find out in the next 20 plus minutes that were non-tendered or either traded. Joey Wendell's a good example of a guy that really the Rays couldn't keep. All-star in 2021, playing at third base, versatile guy. Doesn't even wear gloves when he's at the plate. Love that old school type mentality. Joey Wendell, though, a very solid player, got traded to the Miami Marlins today. He's just one example of numerous players that we could see either traded or, of course, non-tendered, and a rather surprising move, given the fact that all Miami gave up was a prospect, which I don't know the rankings of him on, but it does look like it's a very solid move for the Miami Marlins, who are making sneaky moves this offseason, but are definitely improving their club for the better. Julio, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Mets need you as a GM and Bryant on third, and we said, Julio, I couldn't agree more, my man. Again, all jokes aside, really, really appreciate the donation. I think I would do an okay job. I would have a lot of learning to do, but I think that I could do okay. I could definitely give some input, do my best, baseball nerd impression by just going on Fangraphs Baseball Savant, looking at all the advanced numbers and trying to come up with, okay, this would be a good move and here's why. But that's also why I'm in the position that I am, and that's why people that are as executives, are GMs, are in the positions that they are. There's a big gap in between, but maybe one day. Appreciate the donation, Julio. Really does mean a lot. Appreciate everyone else in the chat too as well. Thank you so much for everyone being here. Gotti, my man, thank you so much for the $2 donation. Really, really appreciate that. Let's see, another $5 donation. Appreciate that as well, Twister. I think Mets get Bryant and Rodon, only Rodon being today. Okay, so you think Carlos Rodon is going to sign tonight? That's interesting. Now, that would be something crazy in my mind, just because the Carlos Rodon front, I want to get into a lot more on him. We talked about him so much and a little bit earlier in our live stream, and then last night's extended live stream. And Rodon is someone who I haven't seen literally many of any reports on since free agency began, outside of the Mets having recent interest in him, that they've been tagged to him. But again, there hasn't been anything crazy reported about him. So he's really a wild card. And I think that's something that we'll continue to address in the live stream. But I genuinely don't know what's going to come of Carlos Rodon. If anything, if it's going to benefit the Mets at all, it could be the fact that, like Kris Bryant, Yusei Kikuchi, they're all Scott Boras clients, as I mentioned in the past. So that could be an X factor. Normally, when you think Scott Boras, you think, oh no, there's no chance the Mets can get a job done. Well, clearly that narrative has died out, is done with, knowing that the Mets have landed Scott Boras' biggest free agent fish, pitching wise. And yes, Max Scherzer, which I have on the wall behind me. Again, if you know, you know. Shout out to Mad Max. So happy that I have that man on the wall. You guys are saying to check tweets. Okay. A couple of you guys are saying to check tweets. We'll check tweets right now. Like I said, a lot of things are going to happen. I'm sure I'm going to have to change the graphic. Hopefully I'll have to change the thumbnail during the live stream, because that means that some good news happened. Let's see here regarding Rosenthal. Okay. 2 more signings in the wave of arbitration eligible players agreeing in deals in advance of the tender deadline. Okay, so that's irrelevant. Nothing on Ken. Nothing on Ken. So I think that's cap, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. Here, give me 1 second, folks. I'll wait a minute. I have to blow my nose out quick. I sound a little congested. But okay, let's go on a little bit of a rant. And before I do, thank you so much for the donation, Game Bread. Hyping the chat for Game Bread Kid with a $10 donation. Mets gain Chafin, Rodon, and Bryant, hiring Tyler WardyNYM for manager position. I like the way you think. If the Mets found themselves actually getting Chafin, Rodon, and Bryant, I think I would pass out. I really, really do. I'll check my text, Thomas. Thank you. I think I would really pass out. And the reason why I say that is the Mets have already had a slam dunk offseason. If you get Chafin, who's the best lefty available through free agency, who had a 1.83 ERA or 1.86, right around there. We'll go over Chafin more in the live stream in 2021, spending time with the Cubs and the A's. Awesome. That's your Aaron Lupo replacement. Can't even talk right now. Get Carlos Rodon on, as long as it's not a long-term deal. Like I would prefer 3 or at most 4 for him. It's in that range, especially as long as the guy's healthy. Oh my goodness, I'm pumped for him. And KB's KB. I would love KB on the Mets. I really, really would. But again, we'll get into all those further individually, because again, I do expect news to happen. I don't know necessarily in all these players individually, but hopefully at least one tonight. That'd be awesome. And if not, then we'll find out either in the morning tomorrow, or it's something that'll happen after the lockout. All I personally hope is that we don't have any breaking news that happens like mad early in the morning that I have to jump on the live stream after doing a late night live stream like this. So hoping for the best, but yeah, I'm expecting some moves tonight. Let's see exactly how significant they are, right? But again, appreciate that donation, my man. What did everybody... Okay, so I'm going to check something real quick, and then I want to go on my rant about the MLB, and then we'll go one by one through all the topics of discussion. You guys know the drill by now. I shouldn't have to explain to you. If you guys are new, though, if you're wondering what we do here on WardyNYM, we do individual content, individual videos on everything it is to know about Mets targets, about Mets, signings, about, of course, anything regarding the Mets you can think of, and live streams, it's the exact same thing. And we do live streams especially because it seems to resonate well with a lot of you guys. And that way I can be more raw with my thoughts and we break things as they happen live. And it really, when it comes to signings, I love doing that stuff. Breaking news live streams, because videos don't do as much justice. I feel that I can't fully share all my initial raw reactions and thoughts. So just for anyone that's first chiming in, if you're wondering why we do the format the way we do here on WardyNY and what you can expect, all I can say is that you can expect literally everything Mets content-wise. It's a reason why we're the #1 channel on YouTube for all things New York Mets outside of the Mets and SNY. So let's leave it at that. And again, thank you so much for the support from everybody. I'm going to just check a tweet right now. Okay, so MLB and MLBPA plan to meet again tomorrow morning. Shout out Thomas. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay. I don't think anything's going to happen regarding it. I got to be honest with you. I love you too. Shout out everybody in the chat, guys. So in case you guys aren't aware, the MLBPA and the MLB, they did meet up today. So you have the owners, of course, and you have the players union. They did meet up. It did not last long. Okay. And we're talking about a CBA, the collective bargaining agreement that expires tomorrow, right before midnight at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. I got it confused. I thought it was tonight for whatever reason. I'm a schmuck. I'm an idiot. So I apologize if you guys were watching the live stream earlier today and I said that the deadline was tonight for the CBA. I was wrong. So you can blame me in case you're wondering, no, it isn't tonight. Yeah, no, it's not tonight. It's tomorrow night. But because of the fact that you need to get a physical in when you sign a player, especially, that's why you can expect the majority of moves to happen tonight into tomorrow morning. It would be really surprising if we see stuff stretch out till late night tomorrow because you have to get that physical in. So the only way I really see that as feasible is if signings happen that maybe we're just pending and then we're made official through reports, and that would justify something like that. Maybe just took a while to be made public. But yes, they are meeting up. They met up today. They only met up for around a half hour. And what was really an eye-opener about that from just reports I saw, I didn't deep dive too much into it, but it didn't look like it was necessarily a good thing. And something rather breaking came out today, and color me surprised. Here's where the Wardy rant is about to go on, guys. And I know that this isn't just Mets news. This is MLB news, but it's important that we talk about everything that's transpiring with the league because that affects the Mets one way or the other, right? So it's important that we stay up to date with these things. But one thing that's significant that really pisses me off, but it's not a surprise, is a report came out through Business Insider earlier today in regards to not a big factor in the CBA agreement and why they're so far apart. And that is the latest scandal with the MLB and manipulating baseballs. And what I mean by that is a report has come out today that not one, but two different types of baseballs have been manipulated without players even knowing in 2021. So we're talking about we had a dead end ball, we're aware of that, but we also had another ball that was changed. And my first gut reaction to this was, one, I'm not surprised. Pete Alonso, I know people are saying in the chat right now, Pete Alonso was right. He was always right. People call Pete Alonso like a conspiracy theorist, as if he didn't know what the hell he was saying. Pete Alonso is a heavy factor into the players union. He knows exactly what he's talking about, and he's right. So if you guys don't remember, a couple months ago, Pete Alonso was saying how he's fully aware of the MLB manipulates the baseballs year after year after year, especially because they own now the company that makes the baseballs. They bought it in over the past couple years. Was it this past year? I think it wasn't that long ago when they actually bought the company to make those baseballs. But Alonso said that they really manipulate them based on the free agency status, what the class looks like, if it's more pitcher heavy or if it's more batter heavy. And he's right to a certain extent. And now when we saw heading into the 2021 season, do you guys realize how much lack of offense we saw in the MLB? Not just with the Mets, but universally. Outside of, the anomaly teams like the Blue Jays and the White Sox, like teams that are just going to smash baseballs no matter what, Overall, a lot of teams were struggling to get in a groove offensively to begin the year. A historic low. We're talking over the past decade plus. We were seeing terrible offensive numbers that we haven't seen in literally years upon years on end. And people were wondering, why is this? Why are we getting no hitters at an alarming rate? Why are we having all these things transpire? Well, the MLB decided to act as if, okay, this is strictly because of the sticky substance issue, something that the MLB has always known. In case you guys aren't aware, sticky substances have always been a thing in baseball. Whether we like or dislike it, it's always been a thing. Now, things more recently like Spider Tack and the more advanced stuff that are just making your RPMs off the charts are things that are more new, or I'd say over the past 5+ years in baseball. But when it comes to, pine tar and rosin, these things are common that pitchers use for grip or for different reasons, right? But MLB's always known this. They've always put a blind eye to it. But in a odd move, and I think we can all agree, for whatever reason, they decide, okay, we have to drastically change the way that we approach pitching in baseball by putting a sticky substance ban halfway through the season, when they didn't give pitchers any time to prep or do this or that, anything like that, to actually get them acclimated and get them better to handle their grip and not hurt themselves, because pitchers can easily hurt themselves. They have to go from adjusting one grip to a completely different grip mid-season versus having the offseason, when all players were under the belief that if something were to transpire, it would be during the offseason, so they have time to really get acclimated and adjust. So the point I'm trying to make is the MLB, my theory, and I think this is going to hold true from all the reports that are coming out, is that while sticky substances, yes, there are players against it, the MLB used that to their advantage as a way to really be a scapegoat for switching the baseballs, because they did it without the players knowing. Literally, Rob Manfred should step down if more information comes out on this front. It's an absolute joke. So for the people that are wondering, oh my goodness, after the sticky substance ban, all these offensive numbers went up. Yes, but to say that it's all strictly because of that ban is an absolute joke. I'm not going to stand by that for even 1 second, okay? Because let's look at things two different ways, right? You have sticky substances. How long have they been in baseball, and how long has the MLB known about them? Forever. It's always been a thing. Yes, substances have changed over the years, but the MLB's always been fully aware of that. And there isn't anyone that can tell me or many people otherwise. It's a known fact. How long was the dead in baseball in the MLB? 2021 was the first season it was proposed. So what does that tell me? And what does that tell me from the reports that now we're seeing that the MLB, switched the baseballs this season without the players knowing? They clearly used the sticky substance ban as a scapegoat, and now it's blowing up in their face. So I don't know what your guys' opinion is on this. I'm really curious to say what everyone else's opinion is on the matter. Again, I understand people being for and against what my theory is, but it's just an absolute joke by the MLB. I cannot stand the fact that we have to have year upon year after upon year of changing the baseballs. Give me something consistent. Juice baseballs. Look at the 9-11, the Subway Series between the Mets and the Yankees. Ball was flying out like no tomorrow. I'm a Mets fan that watched almost every single game this past year. The ball was flying out more than it normally did in that game, throughout that series, I should say. Think about the Field of Dreams game. Yankees, White Sox, there was home runs galore. Literally, I get it that the field dimensions were different. I'm aware of that. But think about all the biggest games, all the most highly televised games that we saw this year, during the regular season at least. The ball was flying out ridiculously. We didn't see that happen in so many other instances. I just want the ball consistent, and they proved once again that they can't even do that right, because all they care about is covering themselves up when they realize that, oh my goodness, ratings are going down because offense is just horrendous for the first couple of years. Let's blame it on the pitchers, right? Let's blame it on the pitchers. Let's give them no time to prep. As I know Tyler Glasnow will adamantly say, that was in part why he got hurt. And I don't blame him for feeling that way. Because again, every pitcher uses, for the most part, something one way or the other, whether it's something small or whether it's something big. Everyone is usually using something. And again, I know you're going to have your anomalies as well, but the point I'm trying to make is this is a joke, and it needs to further be addressed by the MLB. And I'm sorry that I'm going on a little bit of a rant here, but it needs to be said. And I'm someone that is a heavy advocate for having consistency in every sport that I follow. And I think most people can agree and attest to that as well. I know we got to get into more non-tender stuff. We'll get into it shortly. Don't you worry, folks. We're going to cover it all. But I just need to make it clear how we go from the juice baseballs. MLB's thought process behind the juice baseballs would obviously be the simple thought of more home runs, more revenue, because more people are watching, more people are interested, right? You want to have more offensively dominant teams and less pitching dominant clubs. Now we switch things because of just how dominant the home run rates were. But instead of going to a normal baseball, we go to a dead-end baseball. And people gave me flack for saying that, oh my goodness, thinking that the dead end baseball wasn't a factor into the MLB the first couple months of the year having a historic rate of no hitters. We had an alarming amount of no hitters through the first couple months of the season, and we were on pace to shatter all previous seasons of the MLB with no hitters. Then here comes the sticky substance ban, and everything changes. No, I don't think it has nearly as much to do with sticky substance as I think it has to do with them trying to cover up their dirty work and get that revenue going again, knowing that they can make the offense better by switching the baseballs, especially in the most highly televised games. So that's my rant. I had to go on that tangent. I think it's an absolute joke. It really pisses me off. I really hope for the MLB's sake they can get their act together, and just one of the multiple things that Rob Manfred, should be stepping down for by this point. But again, I know I'm really overstepping things here to act as if a commissioner is going to go the lengths of actually taking his way out of things. I don't know how much buildup we're going to get from that news regarding the baseballs, but again, I truly think it's a joke. I really think it's a joke. Okay, let's go to what are the reports coming from, folks? Is it from Ken Rosenthal or someone else? Okay, Emilio Pagan went to the Padres. I'm seeing that report. Okay. What did I miss? What did I miss? Gary Sanchez I don't think Gary's gonna get non-tendered now, actually, because it would have made more sense if Jacob Stallings was available via trade. But now they got traded the Marlins. I don't think that Gary's gonna get non-tendered. I'll be surprised by that, to be honest with you. Steven Nagosic was non-tender. Okay, where did that report come out? Let's see. I just don't want to miss anything of significance. I want to see where these reports are coming from. Okay. And I know Pagan was already with the Padres. Hold on. Okay, so Nagosic is the latest non-tender candidate for the Mets. Perfectly fine. All right, let's update that as well. Nagosic is not someone who had much of an impact for the Mets in 2021. Was one of the endless pitchers that the Mets actually had to use in 2021. So I'm going to update this real quick, folks. Just give me 1 second. And then we'll get into the other reports in Gazelman and all that stuff. I honestly forgot that Nagosic was on the 40-man, though. I'm not going to lie. All right, there we go, folks. Okay, Nagosic is updated. All right, guys, let's get into. I talked about the tender deadline that we're aware. It's 8 o'clock, guys. It's literally 8 o'clock. So the tender deadline has transpired. Okay. Hold on, folks. Yes, Familia is a free agent, and we'll be getting into him because the Mets have been connected to Familia. Whether you're happy or sad about that, we'll be getting into it. Yes, Sanchez is tendered. Okay, there you go. So the Mets have made 2 non-tenders to this point. Have they made any more? They need to do at least one more move, I'd imagine, for their 40-man. Let's see. I don't see anything further right now. Yeah. Yankees tendered Gary Sanchez, coloring me surprised. I could have saw a scenario where they didn't, like I said, if they got Stallings. But now that they got Stallings back, I understand why they're keeping Sanchez. All right, so as of now, there's only 2 non-tenders by the New York Mets. We'll see if one more comes out reported. I will say Nogosek, I was not expecting. It looks like the top guys, of course, were Gazelman, potentially Lucchesi, and Trevor Williams. So the Mets need to do at least one more for the 40-man, it would seem. But I want to talk about for a second, knowing that because, again, Joey Wendell, I thought that was a really good move by the Miami Marlins. So shout out to the Marlins again. As I said already in the live stream, they've been making sneaky moves. But they've been making good moves and taking advantage of kind of what's given to them. As said Jake Reed to the Sun. I was actually pretty optimistic about Jake Reed when the Mets acquired him, but he dealt with a lot this past year. Jake Reed is someone that is he a non-tender candidate? I would assume he is. Chances on KB, they're decent, but I don't necessarily think they're great. We'll get into it shortly, though. Like I said, I think the bulk of this live stream is going to take up on talking about KB and stuff like that. I've also seen a lot of clickbait out lately in videos, and I saw a couple articles. So, guys, just keep in mind, there is nothing outside of speculation right now in regards to KB. There's been a lot of rumblings going on, and I'm going to get into them further. But by no means has it been reported that the Mets are in a position that, KB is a lock to come to the Mets. No. Kris Bryant is far more connected to 3 other teams before you even consider the New York Mets to this point in time from what's been reported. So do not think that anything is by any stretch close regarding Kris Bryant and the Mets. Keep that in mind. Yes. Okay. Just double checking from Jeff Passing. Yep. Gary Sanchez still a Yankee. Okay. We gain a manager this year. Yes, we will. Once the lockout begins, that's when the Mets will go in on their managerial search. Again, shout out my Knicks and the Nets fans as well. The 2 New York teams are watching the game as we speak, as I'm going live here. If you guys are a Knicks or a Nets fan, let me know in the chat. Who do you think is going to win tonight if you're watching this live? I'm curious what your thoughts are. All right, the Twins just signed Tyler Duffy to have agreed to a $3.8 million deal. So not Danny Duffy, Tyler Duffy, who's been on the Twins. He's the guy that normally wears the goggles, if my memory serves me correct. Brewers non-tender Dan Vogelbach. No, they didn't. Did they really? Actually, I could see that. Did they really? Maybe I shouldn't be acting so surprised because I know that they have Rowdy Tellez that they trade for that is really like Vogelbach. Oh, Obi, my goodness gracious. That's a nice slam. 39-36, Knicks down by a couple. Can the Mets still tweet during the lockout? Of course they can tweet during the lockout. They just can't do any signings. Okay. Double check in everything, folks. And again, my apologies for the delays and stuff like that. A lot's happening like right now as we're live, as I figured it would be. So I'm just trying to make sure that we stay up to date on everything. Yeah, nothing further on Heyman right now. Okay. Domingo Germán, 1-year deal with the Yanks. I can care less. Yankees, abusers, they go hand in hand. They love those types. Okay. Now, and I don't mean that, I'm not trying to offend anyone when I say that. It's a known fact though. Like, seriously, Yankees are notorious. And I ranted about it yesterday, but with Marcell Ozuna only gained 20 games, really not happy about that for the Braves, for what transpired with him while he was out with injury. Brooklyn over Nets. Nah, that's cap. Kikuchi to Queens. Yes, Yusei Kikuchi has been among the pitchers on the Mets radar for sure. I was going to do a video on him and Rodon, but really just hasn't felt justified because of how fantastic these streams have been going. So I'd rather just talk about it live and I share my raw thoughts. I'm going to go through further numbers. I don't have to be on a time crunch or anything like that. Mets have to wildly overpay to get Bryant. Possibly, but again, I do not think that Kris Bryant's a lock for the Mets at all. Do I think that there's optimism on the front? Absolutely. But I think there's multiple teams that have a better chance at this point in time at getting KB versus the Mets, especially if the Mets do plan to not do anything until after the lockout. If they don't, that could be the X factor in landing someone like Kris Bryant or not. But we'll get into it further. So again, just don't believe clickbait that you might be seeing out there, over the past day or so. It's easy to fall in that trap that you think something's a lock. Yes, there's optimism, but don't fall too deep into it, is my point. Trevor Story doesn't make any sense for the Mets at all. He's a shortstop. We had Javy Baez, who was willing to play second, did it well. But outside of that, there's literally nothing. Okay, John Heyman just tweeted regarding the CBA talks, guys. They're going nowhere. Nowhere, according to John Heyman. Sides are still in Dallas, but lockout is coming Thursday. We all know the lockout's coming Thursday. It would be nice if we could just get Heyman out of here and then they just get it done quick. Here's a couple things that I would like to share in regards to Heyman. And there is news. There's a lot of things going on right now in regards to not just the Mets, but the MLB. The Mets have non-tendered both Gazelman and Nogosek. We'll see if more comes. I'm going to go into especially Gazelman's numbers. I want to touch on them during his time with the Mets because he did have some good outings for the Mets, earlier in his career. But unfortunately, injuries have really plagued him. And, it kind of makes sense how, coincidentally, his best friend, Noah Syndergaard, gone with the Mets. Now he's done with the Mets. It felt inevitable, right? But in regards to the CBA, something that we need to be aware of is, I think what's been a positive, and as I proposed in my live stream earlier, is the fact of having that kind of hard deadline to make free agency signings until the lockout's done. And I asked people in my live stream earlier, and I'll ask you guys again too, what are your thoughts on having a hard deadline for free agency? Because it's really entertaining. I think it's awesome. I think it gives you that excitement factor, that adamancy, that urgency from clubs to get deals done. And it really makes it fun from a fan side of things for an offseason. So I'm not against deadlines in the future, but I just don't want them happening because we have an impending lockout. Because the lockout's something where this very well could drag on until like February. It could drag on, upwards of spring. Like, I really hope that doesn't happen. Because one, it's going to be a bummer. Like, you look at there's so many fans, including myself at times, that find themselves in a scenario where you love the season, but especially if your team underperformed, you're just excited about the offseason as you are during the season. And when you have to go, potentially, we might go a month, we might go 2 months plus without any activity, trade or signing wise on an MLB level, man, oh man, is it a bummer. Jorge Alfaro to the Padres. Can anyone confirm, or is that cap? I mean, that Alfaro wasn't non-tendered, I believe, so he would have to be traded in that scenario. Let me know. I know that there's been a lot of rumblings with Jorge Alfaro because of them acquiring Jacob Stallings. Alfaro is someone who played both catcher and the corner outfields during the past 2021 season. He did it against the Mets. Alfaro traded, yes, okay. Jorge Alfaro traded the Padres. Jorge Alfaro has some sneaky pop in his bat. Nothing crazy, but that was the key piece in the JT. No, it wasn't the key piece in the JT Realmuto trade. That's cap. The key piece in that was Sixto Sanchez. I'm almost certain in the Realmuto deal. It was one of those deals with the Phillies. But okay, so yes, we do have another trade. Miami's been active, but they trade their catcher and Jorge Alfaro and left fielder to, yes, the San Diego Padres. Padres add some catching depth. So that we'll see. I'm not exactly sure what the return is on that. I'll double check right now. Who is Nick Plummer? Nick Plummer is a prospect that the Mets signed a couple days ago. He's their number 9 prospect. Very promising. Really, really sneaky good pickup. Little to no downside, only upside in acquiring him. And Matthew Boyd has officially been non-tendered, folks, by the Tigers. If you guys don't know Matthew Boyd, former Michael Conforto teammate during their time in Oregon in college, is now a free agent, and he is someone that, as of yesterday, according to Pat Ragazzo, has been on the Mets' radar. So Matthew Boyd, who's been decent, very decent southpaw starting pitcher in the back half of your rotation. The Mets are looking for another lefty in their rotation, and Boyd has been someone of interest. So keep an eye on him. We can go through his numbers a little bit more if you guys would like to do that as well. But yes, Matthew Boyd has officially been non-tendered. May miss the entire season. Oh, okay. That could be an X factor then. My mistake. Is Boyd recovering from an injury right now? That would actually make a lot of sense if that's what's happening. Flexor tendon surgery. Do you guys know the status on how significant that surgery is by chance? Let me know on the live stream if you're watching live in the chat, because I don't, and that's shame on me. I should have done better homework on Boyd, but in the hindsight, I wasn't expecting to talk too much on him tonight. We talked about him last night as well. Bryant or Suzuki, I don't think Suzuki's have. There's been nothing on the Suzuki front. Like I said, it's literally been dead silent on Seiya Suzuki since he was posted in the MLB. Back by July, says Thomas. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Thomas. So, like a Noah Syndergaard situation for this season. He was supposed to be back by June. Didn't happen. Didn't come back till September. But, okay. Interesting. I wonder if the Mets will go take a flyer on him. I'm sure he's going to get picked up somewhere, though, for sure. Mets don't. Let's see. I want to read this comment here. Mets don't get good players. Forget Kris Bryant. Ralph, I don't know what world you're living in, but clearly you're not living in a world of reality if you think the Mets don't get good players. Sounds like you need to get up with the times of what has transpired so far this free agency. Is Cano really going to be in Met next year? He's on the roster, but I honestly don't think he's going to be with them. If anything, I think he might be in a position where he's a DH. And Darren, no worries, my man. Darren, I know it's late on your side right now too, so thank you so much for chiming in, my man. Where I know of, but I'm just trying to re-comment. Again, I'm trying to get as many of you guys as I can right now as we're going through the bullet points as we're happening live here. Just started a new YouTube channel called Woody Baseball. Awesome. Really need to help get some subs. So if you have time to stream, yeah, Woody, everyone, make sure to check out Woody Baseball. I don't know what kind of content you're coming out with, my man. I'm assuming it'll be Mets content as well, but I'm wishing you continued success with your start of your YouTube channel. Always happy to see other great creators in the community. Really wishing you the best, my man. So shout out to you. Let's see. J-Real, what's up, my man? Let's see. Bryant is the guy to get. Again, I'm all in on Kris Bryant. It's not the matter of if I personally at least am interested in Kris Bryant or not. I very much am. It's the reality of him actually coming to the Mets. And that's a little bit of a different story. And we'll be getting more into that for sure. But let me ask this to everybody in the chat right now. Do you think... let me just ask this simply put. Where do you think Kris Bryant is going to land this offseason in free agency? Where do you think he's going to land? Like I said, we got multiple reports that I want to get into here that we haven't in the live stream yet, so we will. But where do you think KB is going to land this offseason? Let me know. It doesn't have to be the Mets, obviously. You don't have to be biased here. You could be more realistic if you'd like. Where do you think KB is going to land this offseason? Let me know in the chat right now to my 1,000 viewers. And again, thank you so much, everyone, for subscribing. We got 1,000 viewers. Let's get a 500+ likes for the next short-term goal. Would really appreciate it, folks. Gut feeling says Phillies. I don't blame you. KB to Detroit, not happening. Should we sign Freddie? I would love Freddie Freeman, but that's not happening. Jays, Mets. Do I see any Mariners in here? Mariners, okay. Okay. See more Mariners comments now because Mariners makes a lot of sense too. Josh, thank you so much for the $2 donation. Hype in the chat to my boy Josh. What about trading for Chapman? His value is low right now. His value is low right now, and I'm not opposed to trading for him, especially in the scenario where you say have Chapman at third and potentially one of McNeil or Escobar at second. I think that makes plenty of sense. Thank you so much for the donation, though, my man. Really appreciate it. Texas Rangers. Ooh, and that's interesting. I think that's the first comment. D-backs not happening. One team that I don't think I've seen one comment yet, which I find a little funny of, considering the fact that they are in on the Kris Bryant sweepstakes and have been in discussions with him and have had serious interest, is yes, the Colorado Rockies. Now, I want to touch on that for a second. Mike, thank you so much for the kind words, my man. I appreciate you. I'm glad that I do, and I really appreciate your support. Shout out to everybody, all you guys, all your continued support means the world to me, guys. The Colorado Rockies have been in on Kris Bryant, and when I look at that, a lot of people are saying, what in God's name are the Colorado Rockies doing, right? They've even shown interest in trying to bring back Trevor Story. I don't know what route the Rockies are trying to go down, but I will say, if Kris Bryant is looking at the market right now, and if he is concerned that he cannot get a deal done prior to the lockout, because post-lockout, there is a belief that a lot of players won't necessarily get long-term contracts, but short-term high AAV. We're talking about a Kris Bryant who's in the prime of his career right now. I think he's age 29, age 30. KB, This is my thought process between if he were to land with the Rockies. Again, I don't see it happening at all. I don't think he's going to land with the Rockies. But if he did, this is why I think it would happen. One, from the Rockies side of things, you need to give fans some reason to enter the ballpark, right? And Kris Bryant would help you do that 1,000%, given their current roster. There's no denying that. He would be their best third baseman since Nolan Arenado, of course, even though it's only been a year. Second thing, though, KB's side. If he wants to take advantage of a free agent market next year, which would have himself more in a class of his own position player-wise when it comes to being an infielder, third baseman, even though I know he plays the outfield too. If he's trying to take more advantage of a market that won't be as nearly infield flooded, he could take a one-year deal, or at most a one-year deal with a second-year option, go to Colorado, hit absolute bombs, work up his stock, have potentially a great year in Colorado, knowing how easy it is to hit in that ballpark. You know, it's truly unprecedented how you hit in Colorado versus other areas. And then he could find himself hitting the market again next offseason, potentially. That is something where I think if Bryant would go to the Rockies, that's the only thing that comes to my mind, personally, is that he takes essentially a one-year deal, high AAV, gives Rockies some fans to be happy about, excited about, right? And from his side of things, he gets to hit in cores a lot. And naturally, that's going to help his offensive production. So that's just my takeaway. If he does, in fact, land with the Rockies, I don't think it's going to happen at all. I'm very interested to see, however, that the Rockies have shown serious interest at this point. Definitely wasn't expecting that. Mark Payton, non-tendered by the Mets. Okay, that's the third one, the outfielder. I'm assuming that, I don't know if we'll get any more non-tenders by the Mets there, but thank you so much. All right, I'm going to add that here as well in the graphic. Okay, Payton non-tendered by the Mets. Mets tweet. All right, I'm checking up on everything right now, folks. Because it is past 8 p.m. Yep. Okay. That's surprising. That's very surprising, guys. I didn't think that Mark Payton or Nogosek were going to be non-tender candidates, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, but they were. So those are the guys that were tendered. Let's see. Blankenhorn was tendered. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Blankenhorn can definitely give you value in AAA as well. Blankenhorn, I think, is from Pottsville, Pottstown, PA, which isn't that far from me. And I did actually interact a couple months ago with someone who was like really close friends with him. So shout out Travis Blankenhorn. I don't mind him staying with the Mets. It's fine. He has big pop in his bat. He just hasn't taken that transition yet to the MLB level to be consistent. He's a DH candidate, though, for sure. Okay, folks. Hold on one second. Guys, everyone in the chat, let me know right now. Out of Gesellman, Nogosek, Payton, are you bothered by any of them being non-tendered by the New York Mets? Let me know in the chat. I'm going to go blow my nose out real quick. So I'll be back in 1 second. So everyone, let me know in the chat if you're bothered by any of them. And then I'm going to get into Gesellman's stats with the New York Mets because I just want to kind of rekindle things and see, you know, how good he was and how bad he was at times and his time in Queens because he's no longer part of the New York Mets. Guys, I literally went to blow my nose. You can't try to prank me when I was away for a second. All right, so it doesn't seem like anyone's bothered by that. And I agree with you. Again, I don't have an issue with any of these non-tender candidates. I think you would have had some controversy, if anything. You announced your winner of the Scherzer jersey. Awesome. I'll make sure to check it out. But yeah, I do think that if this was a Lucchese or a Trevor Williams, that, people would be a tad more bothered. A lot of cap going on in the chat, though, I see right now. I'm not surprised by you guys. You guys got to do better at that. Everyone's saying to look at a tweet, though. I'll check a tweet. We'll check a tweet right now, everybody. Okay. So Craig Mish just tweeted out more ? Sure, why not? That's he covers the Miami Marlins. In case you guys don't know, he's their main beat guy, at least from what I've seen. Miami has been active, as we've said. They acquired Joey Wendell yesterday. They got Jacob Stallings. They also traded Jorge Alfaro. So it looks like that there is more to come on the Marlins front. So we'll see exactly what that is. Yeah, no, I agree. Williams, especially with his option, it makes sense that they tendered him. Guys, I'm a big Seiya Suzuki fan. Trust me, I made that well known. I still don't see it happening. I don't, given the current state of this outfield and what the Mets are prioritizing, which I imagine if they're going for a position player, it's going to be infielder. That's why there's been rumors going on with someone like KB who can play in the infield, but also in the outfield, especially when Brett Beatty would be here. And we'll touch on that more. Oh my goodness. RJ Barrett's out for the remainder of the game due to illness. That sucks. I hope he's going to be okay. $50 dono. My goodness. Tim with a beyond generous donation. Thank you so much, my man. Guys, hype in the chat for Tim with a $50 donation. Love and appreciate you, buddy. You know that very well. Thank you so much for that, my man. And guys, we're 50 likes away from 300 in the stream array. Make sure to continue smashing that like and subscribe button if you're enjoying the stream. Tim, thank you so much for the $50 dono. Love you, buddy. What an L with PCA for Baez, huh? We are going to miss that energy. I'm hoping for one big splash. Maybe Bryant. I'm hoping for another big splash too. I absolutely am. I can't guarantee that's going to be Bryant, and I can't guarantee that'll be even before the lockout happens. But the Mets are clearly not done this offseason. That is for certain. And again, the PCA thing, I get why people can be bothered by that, but in reality, you have every right to be bothered by that more if Zach Scott was still the GM, because he's the one that parted with that prospect at the end of the day. If this was a situation, like that, then I would understand. But having Billy Epler, he's not the one who made those moves, right? So you have to keep that in mind. But Tim, thank you so much for the donation. I really, really appreciate that. I even chat to my boy Tim with the $50 dono, just an absolute beauty. We all love Tim here. Check my Twitter mentions. I will do that right now. Josh Hader, non-tendered. You guys are funny. Okay, talks apparently with Freddie Freeman and the Dodgers. I know that the Yankees have shown interest in Freeman as well, and I also know that the Braves have shown interest in Matt Olson in the scenario where they were to lose Freddie Freeman. I don't see how Freddie leaves the Braves. If you guys aren't aware, Freeman is reportedly looking for around a 6-year, $180 million deal. That's a lot of dough. I know the Braves don't necessarily have endless dough to work with. I just still don't see a world where Freddie isn't playing for the Braves next season. I know that the Blue Jays are a team that could make sense for him as well. I just find it very, very hard to believe. $5 donation here from Charles. Charles, thank you so much, my man. I really, really appreciate that. What's up, Worry? I'm having a hard time why, if the Mets are looking to add another starting pitcher, that they aren't trying for Kershaw. That's a great question, Charles. Love that. Appreciate the donation. Not just an awesome donation as always, but a great question as well. Let's see here. You think we will sign Bryant or Rodon the next 30 hours before lockout? Baby Worry, shout at you. I can see your PFP. That's funny. Okay. Now let's talk about regarding Clayton Kershaw. There's a lot of reasons why I don't think Clayton Kershaw is likely. And one of them is the obvious fact that it's been very, very quiet on the Kershaw end. I haven't heard a lick about that man. since the offseason began and since he wasn't given a qualifying offer. Kershaw's been dealing with injuries. We're aware of that. I think it has more so to do with his injuries than it does with the Dodgers, reluctance to want to keep him or anything like that. So I don't see a world where Kershaw is not a LA Dodger next season. That would be something that would really catch me by surprise. And that's also why I don't think that, we should expect the Mets to be in on him. Now, could Scherzer have some pull at maybe trying to draw Kershaw to the Mets and knowing that they were teammates for half the season 2021? It's possible. And never say never, right? But by no means do I think it's likely at this point in time. And with his uncertainties, the Mets are trying to avoid stuff like that. Like Kershaw when he's on is amazing. Kershaw is one of the best pitchers to ever do it over the past decade plus. There's no denying that, especially as a southpaw. Just an amazing talent. It always has been. But the guy has so many innings, and he's been going through injuries. More significant than even a guy like Mad Max, even at the age of 37 for Max. So Kershaw would be awesome. I don't see it happening, though. I really, really don't. And guys crack me up. I got to put you in timeout, though. Please don't be saying fake news in the chat. Like, it gets dragging after a little bit. But appreciate that donation again, guys. Everybody in the chat right now, speaking of Clayton Kershaw, what's your stance on Clayton? Do you think that he is at all of someone that could be connected to the Mets this offseason, or do you think that he's a lock to either stay with the Dodgers or go elsewhere? I'm curious what everyone's thoughts are on Kershaw, so let me know. Same with Dodgers. Corey Seager signed already, Oscar. He's in Texas. Too risky. Sid Finch. Mets card says yes. Kershaw to Yankees. My goodness. What? Kershaw staying. Dodgers probably keep him. I agree. Let's send Paulo Duca. Fun fact, Paulo Duca used to follow me on my old Twitter account. So shout out to Paulo Duca. Yeah, I think we're all kind of under the same agreement that Kershaw, I don't think he's going anywhere. People are asking about Greinke, though. Greinke's a different discussion. Greinke, I wouldn't be opposed to at all. And Greinke's, it would be pretty awesome to see Greinke this rotation. I mean, like, if the Mets are going old school right now, might as well go old school with guys that are still great talents. Zach Greinke is unbelievably reliable still. Would be awesome for the Mets as Greinke as your number 3, number 4 starter would be sick. I wouldn't be against that at all. But whether Greinke is someone that, wants to come to the Mets or not, I'm not sure. He's a guy that wants to be back in the NL, he has said, and I think it's in part with him hitting. But he's also someone that, and we're going to have a DH, so that won't impact him. But I think Greinke, if he goes anywhere in the NL, I could see him going to the Braves far more than I could see him going to the Mets, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think he wants to go to a market like New York, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though. Guys, Mets are announcing Max Scherzer tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. I'm assuming if they're announcing Scherzer tomorrow, they might announce everyone else. But it does look like the Mets will be announcing Scherzer tomorrow. So get ready, get prepped for that. Rich Rod got non-tendered by Atlanta. Oh, shit. Pardon my French. Yo, what? That's actually huge. Hold on. That's what? Rich Rod wasn't even on like all their playoff rosters for the Braves. That was weird. Hold on. Why would the Braves non-tender him though? Where'd that report come from? Where'd that report come from, guys? Let me know in the chat. Okay, Mark Feinstein. I found it. All right, awesome. Guys, all right, I'm going to address a couple donations, but I want to get into Rich Rod's numbers because that's a surprise. Richard Rodriguez is someone that I wanted the Mets to go after at the MLB trade deadline when they were connections with the Pirates because they had interest in Adam Frazier and also Tyler Anderson. That didn't happen, obviously. Frazier went to the Padres. Now he was then traded again to Seattle because he did terrible with his time with the Padres. And Tyler Anderson was with Seattle, but now he's a free agent. And Rich Rod was traded to the Braves and didn't do great with them, but still, I would be in heavy favor of picking him up because the Mets need bullpen help. It wouldn't hurt. Kyle Seager for third base, Kikuchi for a fourth starter. I don't see Kyle Seager happening because the Mets have their short-term third base right now in Eduardo Escobar. So, true story. Thank you so much again for the donation. I really appreciate that, but I don't think that's likely in regards to Kyle Seager. I think it would have made a lot more sense if they didn't have someone like Escobar. Alex, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Hype in the chat for Alex as well for the great support. Thank you so much for the dono, my man. Yeah, wow. Okay. Interesting news on Richard Rodriguez. Okay, let's go. Guys, let's go into Richard. Let's go into Richard Rodriguez's numbers right now. Guys, question everybody in the chat right now. Would you like to see Rich Rod land with the Mets? Okay, so this is how he did during his time. Yeah, oh, yeah, he did terrible in Atlanta. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So something went wrong for Rich Rod when he landed with Atlanta after the trade deadline. I don't know. Oh, wait. I don't know exactly. He wasn't terrible. I'm actually saying that wrong. He had a 3.12 ERA, but he had a 6.17 FIP. Not pretty. So I don't know exactly what happened. You know, ERA front, they aren't terrible during his time. FIP is not pretty, though, at all. Like, he went from having... What? And 37 games with the Pirates in 2021. Rich Rodriguez had a 2.82 ERA. Had himself 33 strikeouts and 37 appearances and a 2.6 FIP. He goes to the Braves and in literally 27 games has a 3.12 ERA. So ERA-wise, not bad, but the underlying number, that 6.17 FIP is just drastic. That's so bizarre to me. I don't understand how that happened for him. Hold on. It's really weird. He had a 4 FIP as a total in 2021 with a sub-3 ERA combined with both teams. Think it's sticky stuff? You think it's okay? This is how we'll find. This is how we'll find out if it's sticky stuff, folks. We'll go into his baseball savant and look on if he had a significant dip after the breakdown. Hold on. Hold on, folks. I'm just looking up Rich Rodriguez's numbers right now and going into his spin rate because this is how you'll know. Okay. All right. Yep. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, let's go by season. Hold on. 2021. It's hard for me to tell, actually. Hold on. Do you guys think it was from sticky substance with someone like him? I can't tell at the moment. Exactly. Oh my, yeah, his baseball savant numbers are not pretty, actually. The only thing he's got going for him are two things: fastball spin rate, 90th percentile. So he's heavy with the spin rate, and walk percentage at 98th percentile. The man does not give up walks at all. He's thrown constantly in the zone. Baseball changed. I know the baseball changed. I'm aware of that. But, you know, he doesn't have pretty all around. He doesn't have good numbers at all, actually. If you look at advanced through baseball savant. And again, that doesn't mean everything. You can still get outs without having, you know, good, say you have really hard contact against you, but you're still getting it to help out the defense, stuff like that. So the Braves non-tender Adam Duvall? No, they didn't, unfortunately. They're in arbitration with him, I'm pretty sure. They didn't non-tender him, though. Take a look at Jose Castillo on the Padres. He just got non-tendered. Okay, I will. But yeah, Rich Rod, throughout his career, you know, he had... Yeah, he really struggled with strikeouts in 2021. That's a big thing. He only averaged 5.88 K per nine to a 1.4 walks per nine. It's just over a 4 difference there, which is not great for a reliever in his situation usually. Hold on. I'm just looking more of his stats. In 2020, in the shortened season, Richard Rodriguez had a 2.7 ERA. In 2019, he had a 3.72. In 2018, he had a 2.47. Interesting. Adam Duvall, tender news has... If Adam Duvall, for some reason, doesn't get tendered, Mets have to jump on that 1,000%. Chris Taylor, highly favored to land for the Blue Jays. Oh, that's an awesome pickup for the Blue Jays. Again, I don't see the Mets going down that route because of his contract. So I would love to see Chris Taylor on the Blue Jays. He'd be a great fit for them. Huge utility guy. Would be awesome for them. And with them losing Marcus Semien too, now there's a spot in that infield, and he can be utilized in the outfield too. That would be awesome pickup for them. $20 donation here from Penn Mets. Guys, hype in the chat for Penn Mets. Thank you so much for the donation. Really, really appreciate that. Hype in the chat for my man. Kenley Jansen sounds interesting to me, especially if Diaz starts to falter. If not Bryant. Chris Taylor, who can play second. Yeah, again, I don't think Chris Taylor is going to happen. I would love Chris Taylor, but I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. Frees up McNeil and or Davis for a trade. And again, I agree. I just don't think the Mets are going to sign anyone with a compensation pick personally. Kenley Jansen is interesting. I think Kenley, if anywhere, stays out west and he goes to a team like the Angels. However, I would be surprised if he landed with the Mets. And I don't think the Mets want to throw out a big bag reliever wise. And I think that goes in hand with them not throwing the bag to Aaron Loop to begin with. So interesting. Very interesting, though. Appreciate the donation, Pat Mets. As always, my man. Let's see. Chris Taylor does play like every position. What was the player that from the Padres that got non-tendered? Someone let me know in the chat. Nats non-tender, Wander Suero. Yeah, no, he's up there. He's in his late 40s now. Not surprised by that. He's a shell of what he once was. Jose Castillo. Thank you. And guys, was news announced on Voit and Duhar? Did we get... I'm going to double check if that was made official yet. I don't see how Voit would be non-tendered. You'd have to think that they would get a trade in place for him, if anything. Jose Castillo. Let's look up Castillo. Wait, Suero's 30? Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I must have been thinking about someone else. My mistake. I take back what I said. My mistake. Jose Castillo. Oh, okay. He hasn't pitched since 2019. That's why. Okay. Is Jose Castillo coming off of injury? Or was he pitching the minors? Hold on. Marlins tweet officially about Brinson. I wouldn't mind Brinson for outfield depth. Because I know that Clint Frazier, who was a guy that some people wanted for outfield depth, he got picked up on a one-year deal by the Chicago Cubs today. Thoughts on Baez? I talked about it earlier, so make sure to check out that live stream if you haven't for my initial reaction. But just in a nutshell, I love Baez. I'm wishing him nothing but the best. It is what it is. It seems like the Mets didn't want to go to a long-term deal with him, and I can understand that. And clearly, he had a priority to get a long-term deal while also having to opt out after 2 years into that deal. $5 donation here from Charles. Thank you so much, my man. Wardy, what would you rather go to opening day or the second game? Being Matt, I'd love to go to both. As of right now, I'm probably going to the second game. I really hope I can go to opening day just because the prices will be drastically different. I fully intend to be at Max's debut, but if I can be at both, then sign me up. That'd be awesome. Appreciate the donation, Charles. If you guys are going to the first couple games of the season for the Mets, let me know too in the chat. Yeah, Jose Castillo, what's the status on him? Twins non-tender Tyler Miguel's brother. Yes, I did see that. Yeah, Jose Castillo, in case you guys aren't aware, he hasn't pitched since 2019, but he had basically a full season as a reliever in 2018, 37 games played, 38 innings pitched, had a 3.29 ERA, 2.64 FIP, a sub-1 whip. Really nice numbers, actually. Very nice numbers. Wow, okay. Strikeouts per nine at 12.2, walks per nine at 2.8. I'm assuming he got hurt because he only pitched 2 innings in 2019. So, yeah, I'm assuming he's coming off of an injury, probably Tommy John. This is just me guessing. I'll look it up in a second, though. But now he's non-tender. He's only 25 years of age, 6'6", 252. Let's look at his arsenal. Luis Castillo. Jose Castillo, not Luis Castillo. My mistake. I'm thinking of the man from Cincinnati. Camargo non-tendered? Oh, shoot. Oh, my God. What are the Braves doing? That probably means they're keeping Duvall, right? That has to mean they're keeping Duvall. Wow. Wow. That's actually insane. 49er, thank you so much for chiming in, my man. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Oh, someone tagged me in this. Thank you for that. It says, quick reminder, if you're confused why a team non-tendered a player not eligible for arbitration, once a year chance to get a player off the 40-man without putting them through waivers normally is followed by a pre-arranged minor league deal with a decent salary incentive. That's true as well. Some of these guys could be signing a minor league deals. That's actually a great point. I'm glad that that was brought up to me. Thank you for tagging me in it. Camargo, that might be the route that he's going down if he has something in agreement already. But that's still nuts. Hold on. Let's look at Johan Camargo's stats here. Hold on. Tremon, why you gotta say nonsense in here? The Mets didn't get anyone. Okay, so Camargo was in AAA like all 2021. Did not look good in 2020 in the shortened season. In 2019, he had 7 home runs, 31 RBIs. Not great numbers, though. Not pretty at all, actually. Not good at all. 2018, 19 home runs, 63 RBIs. Something's clearly happened with Camargo because he's almost 28 already. I feel like he just entered the league. It's actually absurd to me. Okay. He had 76 RBIs, pardon me. 76 RBIs, 19 home runs in 2018. Yeah, he's really fallen off since then, though. Yeah, Camargo's is definitely a guy I'm sure someone's going to take a flyer on. You know, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be the Mets, but clearly if the Braves are letting him go, there's a reason behind it. There's always reason behind these things. But he did fall off. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, I know Johan was in AAA. Again, I wouldn't be against the Mets picking him up to add, especially for minor league depth and giving him potentially shot off the bench. But he would have to prove himself because clearly he's fallen off since 2018. Hasn't been the same player. Like that's a significant drop off. You know, in 2017, rookie year, 23 years of age, 82 games, 300 average, 333 on base, 452 slugging. Second year, 272 average, 349 on base, 457 slugging. Then just a complete drop off and on base in 2019. Same thing in 2020 in the shortened year, and had only literally 15 games played in 2021. I heard the Mets offered Rodon a 4-year contract. Where do you hear that from? This will be news to me. This will be breaking news to talk about in the chat. If that's actually true, or is that just something you heard from someone random? And if it is, that's fine. But just clarify it for me. I don't see how KB is a good fit for the Mets. I can get into that shortly. I'll get into all of that. That doesn't worry. Thoughts on Lay's chips going up 50 cents per bag? That's what happens when you have inflation. You can blame the government for that one. I'd love the Mets to include McNeil and JD Davis if you sign Bryant and go get Josh Hader. Yeah, I don't think Josh Hader is realistic at all. I really don't. What's up, Jason? Any Angels news? No, nothing of significance I've seen. I know that the Angels are still very much involved in the pitching market. I don't know if they're going to get something before the lockout, though. That's a wait and see still. No, Josh, you can't post the link in the stream. So just tell us where you got it from. Voit if Voit would be an awesome DH option for the Mets, especially in this scenario where they traded away Dom Smith. I'm not sure what your opinion is on that. I think Luke Voit would absolutely rake with the Mets in a DH role. I don't think it's likely at all, but I really think that he would thrive if he's solely DH for the Mets. And assuming that Dom Smith is gone, because it wouldn't make sense to have both of them. Do I think the Mets will sign Yusei Kikuchi? I think that they have a solid chance of, for sure. I know that the Toronto Blue Jays are in on him, along with some other teams. So keep that in mind. Was it Torres or Andujar? No, it was Francisco Lindor's best friend outside Baez. Like his real best friend is why am I blanking right now? Third base, Yankees. Gio Urshela. There we go. When is the lockout? The lockout should begin after 11:59 p.m. tomorrow. So basically, once it's December 2nd, is when the lockout will be happening. Jays news, nothing crazy Jays wise right now. I'll check on Mets Miraz. Thank you. Because if they offered him a 4-year deal, I will be very surprised, and we'll get into it. Jays news, Jays look like a potential favorite for Chris Taylor. They've been in on potentially Freddie Freeman. They've been connected to Yusei Kikuchi. They've been in on a lot of people. I know that much. Yeah, I think the Rodon offer is cap, which wouldn't surprise me. Let's see. Yeah, no, there's been no official offer in from the Mets to Rodon, reportedly. So thanks for nothing, per usual. Let's see here. Yeah, my thoughts on Kikuchi, I like him a lot. I think UC would actually be a very sneaky pickup if the Mets go down the route of getting him. Yet again, very all-star first half of 2021, horrendous second half, just like Taijuan Walker. I think that someone like, pardon me, I was going to say Epler for whatever reason. Jeremy Hefner could really benefit from him. Yankees released Chris Giddens from their infield. Yeah, no, Kikuchi's delivery is awesome. His delivery is pretty sick. I'm just checking all the notifications right now, folks. Do I see Correa signing tonight? No, I don't see Correa signing until post lockout. Where am I getting notifications from? Twitter. Kind of crazy how Vogelbach ended up as a non-tender. I know. Again, Vogelbach benefited from the juice baseballs, and the guy that just unfortunately has been able to stay consistent. Surprise free agency has been a little quiet today. I do think that it's going to pick up into the night, though, into tomorrow morning, because this is literally it. They need to make sure that they get enough time in, of course, to get their physicals in for all the players that they're acquiring. So you have to make sure that you get all that stuff done, or else that you can't make those deals. Yes, the Mets are showing interest in extending Brandon Nimmo, and they absolutely should. Brandon Nimmo, a 393 career on base, established himself as an above average center fielder in 2021, is literally a stud. And similar to Byron Buxton, the Mets can take full advantage of landing Nimmo on a long-term extension at an AAV that very well can be a huge bargain as long as Nimmo continues to progress the way he has, because they can use to their advantage the lack of games played that Nimmo's had because of injury. That will benefit the Mets in contract discussions. So, yes, all aboard on the Brandon Nimmo hype train to get that man on an extension. They absolutely need to do it. I really hope that they do. I'm glad that they're showing interest in doing so. Roman Quinn non-tendered? Oh, okay. Roman Quinn's fast. That's it. That's literally it. But I'm going to be right back, folks. I'm going to go use the restroom quick, and then we have plenty more that we need to get into here, folks. I'll continue answering your comments, questions, and concerns, and hopefully we'll see if anything significant happens tonight during the live stream, and if not, maybe something tomorrow morning. But again, as I've been saying, I'll be pretty surprised if, the significant moves, if anything like that happens early tomorrow, just because you need to get those physicals in. So there isn't really much time left to get these negotiations in with players if you're trying to do stuff prior to the lockout. You guys are saying prank before I even left my seat. Come on, do better. I'll be right back, though, folks. And we back. All right, awesome. Paul Heyman. Heyman literally hasn't tweeted in like 40 minutes. You guys need to stop it. Okay. All right, folks. Let's get into some conversations here. And again, we're getting awfully closer to 500 likes in the stream. So again, if you guys are enjoying the live stream on all of the latest with the New York Mets and their free agency and everything that's going on too with the non-tendered candidates throughout the MLB, not just the Mets, make sure to smash that like and subscribe on as always, and help us get 12K subs. We're only a couple hundred away from 12K already. So as always, folks, if you guys are enjoying the stream, make sure to continue smashing those buttons. Guys, please stop with the spam. Come on. Please stop with the cap. You guys are you're terrible at this. It'll be so much better. Yes, I'm going to talk about Kris Bryant, but I did want to touch on Gazelman's numbers. I'll wait a little bit though, or I won't do it at all. It's not a big deal. I'm not against Brinson for depth. We can talk about Brinson for a second. That's fine. Matthew, appreciate letting me know about the opening day tickets. You don't have to keep spamming it though. It's okay. Yeah, Lewis Brinson is someone where I wouldn't mind him for depth, especially coming from AAA. We're trying to compete for a bench spot. But, man, what could have been? Lewis Brinson, originally first-round pick by the Texas Rangers in 2012, 27 years of age, and he just has not hit where he's supposed to. He's just never been that guy. Literally, he had 9 home runs, 24 runs scored, 33 RBIs in 2021 in 89 games. 226 average, 263 on base, 376 slugging. The Marlins gave him every opportunity known to man to succeed, and unfortunately, he didn't succeed. You know, Tim LeCastro non-tendered. Tim's a speed demon, but that's all he is. LeCastro is a fun player, though, for sure. But again, he's just a speed demon. That's all you get with Tim. Rich Rod is a guy where I think that the Mets should absolutely pounce on, just considering at least. Keep in mind, though, the Mets 40-man is filled, so they can easily DFA people, or if they have trades in the works. But at this juncture, I will be surprised if the Mets make a move before the lockout. Only because of the fact that they don't have much time. They really don't. Like, we have what? We have like 27 hours until the lockout begins. So definitely I hope that they make more moves before the lockout, because we always love moves and we love talking about them. But by no means does it look likely that they're going to do anything crazy before the lockout now, just because of the fact of, you know, just the time. It's solely just the timing. That's the real thing. It's annoying. That's the thing. That's the bummer about the lockout as a whole. But I'm really curious too, because John Heyman, as I said earlier today, came out and said that the Mets are still involved for starting pitchers and a bat of significance, I would imagine, because obviously the Mets can approach, you know, bench depth options however they wish. They don't need to make that public per se. Brinson, 88th percentile on max exit velo. That's the equivalent to like the other guy that used to be with Miami, was with the Cleveland this past year, and Ramirez. Like absurd baseball savant, but he has awesome max velo when he actually makes contact. Deadline extension, maybe? No, that's not going to happen. Like, look, again, there's going to be a discussion in the morning regarding what's happening with the CBA between, you know, the union and the owners, the MLB as a whole. They're really, really far apart. A lockout is happening. I don't think there's any way that it can drastically change. Heyman just tweeted, all right, we'll check out the Heyman tweet. But I do want to get into, again, all the Mets options, position player-wise, that we know right now, and also, of course, and their pitching options. Marlins, Zodders beat Twitter. Marlins are in talks with Kenley Jansen. Interesting. I don't know how accurate that is. Marlins being sneaky with everything then. Okay, Yankees and Gio Urshela agree to a one-year deal at $6.55 million, avoid arbitration. So there you go. Urshela is not going anywhere for now. We haven't heard anything on Voit yet, though. Voit's the big one I want to hear about from the Yankee side of things. But, okay, folks, let's talk about pitching, right? Because as we talked in last night's live stream and earlier today, The Mets have been connected to Yusei Kikuchi, Carlos Rodon, Matthew Boyd. There are other pitchers I'm sure that they are pondering. There has been assumptions of potentially going down the route of Shamanaya, potentially someone from the Oakland A's. But whether they go down that trade route will really be indicative on if they're able to execute in free agency. It's something tells me right now at this point in time that their priority is in free agency to address potentially a number 3 starting pitcher. And if that falls through, maybe they are not able to land someone that they're looking for in Kikuchi or Rodon, then I would imagine that they would probably pivot towards a trade route then. Again, I could be wrong here. They might be prioritizing a trade route instead, but I do know that the Mets would like to continue to add on payroll without having to give up any prospects or any assets of significance if you don't have to, right? But I've talked about Carlos Rodon. I'll talk about him more. Rodon, again, as I said, the thing with Rodon is not the matter of his talent per se, because he's awfully talented. It's one, his health, his shoulder issues last year, the lack in velo. Was that because he was purposely pumping less gas because of his opponent? Or was that also because of the fact that he was having shoulder issues like he did in 2021? Rodon hasn't pitched too much in his career to this point. We're talking about a guy that in 2019 barely pitched because of injury. 2020 barely pitched as well. 2019 only pitched 20 games. 2018, pitched 20 games. 2017, 12 games. First couple years in the league, had at least 25 games in each. And in 2021, he had 24 games, was dominant. Don't get me wrong. A 2.37 ERA, 2.68 times ERA, 2.65 FIP. Beautiful numbers, a 4.9 WAR. Was insane. You know, his K per 9 was off the charts. His K percentage at 34.6%, walk percentage at 6.7%, K to walk percentage at 27.9%. Opponent batting average at 186. You know, awesome numbers. K per 9, 12.55 K per 9, 2.44 walk per 9. Yes, I know that the Mets have a connection when it comes to his agent, as I said already, and Scott Boras, and that's something that it would make sense why the Mets would be going down that route, of course. They already had that relationship. Let's rekindle it further. Let's get another move done. And if Rodon's healthy, he would be an absolute horse for this rotation. A 1-2-3 of a healthy Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, and Rodon can easily be the best in baseball. The Mets already have the best one too, as long as they're healthy. Add in Rodon, if he's healthy, it's elite as well. The biggest thing, again, is whether the guy that can stay healthy and the type of term of contract he's looking for. I think that there will be risks, like anything else, on getting a deal with Rodon on a multi-year deal, especially if it's like a 5-year deal. That one would be a big head scratcher for a guy who had his coming out party in 2021. Prior to that, you know, he's in a lot of ways you can compare him to a Trevor Bauer, not in the sense of, you know, who they are personality-wise and off the field, but in the sense of what their career direction has been at this point. You know, Rodon hasn't done anything stellar. You know, his last best season prior to 2021, ERA wise at least, was his first year in 2015, where he pitched just around 140 innings pitched. Now in 2021, he pitched 132 innings pitched. Year 2 in the league, 4 ERA. Year 3, 4 ERA, a little over. Year 4, just over 4 ERA. Year 5, only a couple games, 5 ERA. Year 6, short in 2020 season. Again, it's only 2 games. I wouldn't put stock into it for starts. Over 8 ERA. Rodon had an amazing year, 13 wins, 5 losses. But I don't think Rodon is someone that will be likely if he's looking for a long-term deal. If he can land on a 3 or 4 year deal, then absolutely. I think the Mets are in the cards here. And I'm not against it if they go down that route, especially like 3 would be awesome. I know people are talking about Marcus Stroman in the chat right now too. Stroh talent-wise is awesome. I love him back in the rotation. But as I talked about in my previous live streams, the man has really looked like he shot himself in the foot on any potential return to Queens. Stroh feels pretty unlikely right now. Now, can the Mets afford Stroh? Can the Mets afford Kris Bryant? Can the Mets afford multiple things? Yes, they absolutely can. The Mets can do a lot. And yes, I know they tendered Gary Sanchez. Thanks for letting me know, though. But the point I'm trying to make is that for how the Mets are trying to address this rotation, there's been a couple things that we have noticed trend-wise after landing Max Scherzer especially. One, they want a middle of the rotation starter or back half, depending on the prices. Two, they want a southpaw, which is exactly why you see them connected to Carlos Rodon and Yusei Kikuchi. Kikuchi, again, is a very interesting pick as well. I'll go through his numbers again. Just his normal numbers at least, because he's someone that has potential for sure. I think, as I said plenty, I'll say again, he makes a lot of sense if you get him and you got Seiya Suzuki so they can help out each other intellect-wise. I think that, makes a lot of sense. But assuming that Seiya Suzuki is not an option for the Mets, Kikuchi is still a solid fit. 30-year-old southpaw. Oh, wicked release as well. Love his windup. In 29 games played in 157 innings pitched, had himself a 4.4 ERA, a 4.6 FIP, and a 1.1 WAR. Started off the year great, and again, just really fell off in the second half, just like Taijuan Walker. But I do believe that someone like Jeremy Hefner could benefit greatly from working with someone like him. A 9.34 K per nine to a 3.55 walks per nine in 2021, so he's dealt with some walk issues. He had a 3.83 ERA in the shortened pandemic season in 2020. In his rookie year, in the MLB at least, because he was coming from, I don't know if he came from the MPB or the KBO. I'm assuming MPB. But first year, nothing crazy. Had himself a year. Wait, where's his ERA? I'm sorry. Oh, wait, I was looking at the wrong numbers ERA-wise. My mistake. He had a 4.41 ERA in 2021. He had a 5.17 in the shortened season. And in 2019, in 32 appearances, a 6-11 win-loss ratio and a 5.46 ERA. Times ERA in 2021 wasn't pretty either. Had a very good times ERA in 2020. The shortened season, FIP was good too, but again, it was a shortened campaign. So Kikuchi, I think, makes sense, especially on a shorter-term deal for this rotation to add that lefty. Another guy to keep in mind too is someone like Rich Hill that we talked about before. I'm not opposed to Rich Hill at all. I think especially the Mets could land Rich Hill and put him in that like versatile, fifth, sixth starter / lawn relief arm in the pen. If that's something that he's willing to do, then sign me up, because I'll get into Rich Hill's numbers in a minute. But this is a guy that has done perfectly fine everywhere that he has went, and he's not slowing down. He's still getting outs every way that he can. And it doesn't matter if the Mets have this overwhelmingly old rotation even. They just got to get the job done. The Mets are in a win-now stage. That's all that matters. And as long as they're not giving up prospect capital, that's okay. Duvall tendered. Oh, okay. Damn. Duvall would have been a nice pickup, but okay. Duvall tendered by the Braves. Gotcha. John, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I think I heard Epler say he was going to sign a lot of minor league deals for depth. Yeah, he absolutely will, especially during the lockout, because you can make minor league signings and trades, folks. So there will still be activity going on, just not from an MLB level standpoint. I could see them signing a few relievers on minor league deals. Yeah, for sure. I could see them doing that as well. They've already started, and they will continue to. And guys, we're getting close to 400 likes in the stream. Thank you all so much for that. As always, folks, make sure to continue smashing that like and subscribe on if you're enjoying the stream. As always, I'm going to get into Rich Hill's numbers in a minute. People are asking me about Kyle Schwarber. All right, well, let me get into Rich Hill numbers. Then we'll talk about Kyle Schwarber, because I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent when it comes to Kyle Schwarber. I talked about it earlier in my previous live stream. I'll do it again. In a nutshell, don't get your heart set on Kyle Schwarber. As unfortunate as it is, because I know wherever that man's going to land, he's going to murder the Mets. But let's get into Rich Hill's numbers for a second. Again, if Rich Hill is willing to be utilized in any way that the Mets deem fit, he's perfect to bring back. Absolutely perfect to bring back. Could be huge come playoffs as well, because Rich Hill has great playoff experience and has really good playoff numbers. But taking a look at Rich Hill's numbers here, in 2021, as a whole, he had himself a respectable 3.86 ERA, a 4.39 times ERA, 4.34 FIP, works well with the defense around him, and is someone where he just continues to get the job done year in and year out for Rich Hill. If we look at his time with the Mets specifically, it was literally like no different than what he was doing. He actually did a little bit better than what he was doing with the with the Tampa Bay Rays before he got traded to the Mets. But he's a crafty southpaw, man. He knows how to get these outs no matter what. And you don't have to be a strikeout king to get outs. You just got to get outs at the end of the day. And that's what Rich Hill's been doing his entire career. Again, remember the Mets showed interest in Rich Hill to sign him as a free agent last offseason. Then they trade for him. So they've been connected to Rich Hill for a bit now. Again, as a potential 6-starter type lawn relief, love that. I think that would be huge when it matters most for the Mets come playoff time. But with the Mets specifically, Rich Hill had a 2.84 ERA in 13 games and 12 starts in 2021, 63.1 innings pitched, and had himself a 4.02 FIP, which was significantly better than what he had during his time with the Tampa Bay Rays. It was at 4.55. WHIP was a little higher than with the Rays at 1.279. Again, Rich Hill, I would love to have Dick Mound back on this team. Not opposed to that as well. My natural concern with Rich Hill is more so on his willingness to come to the Mets and be in a spot where he wouldn't be necessarily a lock for a rotation, but just however they would like to, like their ultra utility guy pitching wise. If that you guys kind of understand my GIF, not GIF, GIF. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. So guys, everybody in the chat, let me know, how do you feel about Rich Hill coming back to the Mets? Would you like him, especially in a spot where he's potentially, your 5th, 6th starter if they go a 6-man rotation, give some more time to guys like Jake and Scherzer, and could be an ultra utility guy out of the pen? If that's a possibility, would you guys like that? What's going to happen with Trevor Williams? He's staying with the Mets. Unless he gets traded or DFA'd, he's staying with the Mets. Yes, his depth. Okay. And again, that's exactly what I agree with, everybody. That's exactly what I agree with. Just around 100 likes away from 500, folks. Continue smashing that like and subscribe button. Again, thank you all so much for the support. Always means a lot. When is press conference? I think Scherzer's presser is going to be tomorrow. I don't know a time yet, though. He does give quality innings. Exactly. Okay. I think most of us are on similar page. Jock Peterson, 4th outfielder. There just doesn't look like there's a fit for him on this team right now, to be honest with you. I don't just see them going down the Jock route, personally. I don't. Okay, it looks like all 4 players will be announced tomorrow, folks, probably around noon. So keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes peeled for a potential presser around noon, maybe a little bit later, regarding the Mets. And that's regarding not just Scherzer, but Eduardo Escobar, Mark Hanna, and Starling Marte, which will be the most sick presser of all time. We'll see if any more moves happen. Obviously, it wouldn't be in time to get a presser done pre-lockout. But again, I'll say it now and I'll say it again. I would love for the Mets to get some moves done before lockout, but it's just not looking like it's going to happen right now. It looks like we're going to see more moves around the league, but it doesn't look like we're going to see much with the Mets. The Mets will be very active once the lockout's done. I promise you that. And they're going to take advantage of the lockout with hiring a manager and all these other things that we'll talk about. In person, no, it's going to be through Zoom because everyone's in different locations. They're not all in New York right now, I don't think. I know Escobar's in New York, but he might be the only one of the signings that's in New York. Who do I want more, Rodon or Kikuchi? At the right price and at the right term. Excuse me. At the right price and the right term, I would want Rodon. Knowing the upside that you get with him, as long as it's not like a crazy long-term deal or anything like that. Marte's in NYC? Is he in New York too? Well, if maybe, I don't know. I don't think Scherzer's in New York. Thank you for the bless you. I appreciate that. Max does need to get his own presser, but I mean, it doesn't really matter as long as they all get enough individual time. It doesn't look like you got to realize you can't do individual pressers because you're not allowed to do pressers once the lockout begins. So they're kind of forced. They're forced to literally do a presser for all their signings because they don't have enough time to do all these individual ones. Appreciate the bless yous, guys. What about other third base options besides Bryant? Well, they're the typical ones. If you're going down the trade route, Matt Chapman could be of consideration. If you have Escobar or McNeil at second. But again, I think short-term route, it's Escobar at third base right now. McNeil's your starting second baseman right now until proven otherwise, unless he gets traded or if the Mets make a different pickup. When it comes to other third base routes, I don't really see much through free agency. It really would be trade route. I agree. I don't know why you can't do pressers through during the lockout. It's beyond stupid. I agree with you 100%. J-Ram's awesome, but he's nothing short of a pipe dream, and there's reasons why it's more than likely not happening. Mets are not trying to give up those type of assets in order to acquire J-Ram. The only thing that would really be likely on that front is if they can get a deal done without giving up much prospect capital and more of guys on their roster, which again is not impossible, but not likely. Ideal Mets lineup. Ideal Mets lineup. I would love it if the Mets got Kris Bryant. I don't think it's likely though, and I'll get into more on KB here in a second. But KB would be awesome at third because you could just be using ultra utility. KB at third. Potentially have McNeil at second unless he's traded. Then you put Escobar there. First base, Alonso. Shortstop, Lindor. Left field, Brennan Nimmo. Center field, Starling Marte. Right field, Mark Canha. But if you could do something else outfield-wise, if you can somehow, some way, still get someone like a Suzuki, I would love that. I just don't see a world really right now where Mark Canha isn't playing almost every day. And because of that reason, that's why I wouldn't get your hopes up on solely outfielders of significance that the Mets prioritize. Again, I could be proven wrong, but as of now, I wouldn't get sold on that notion. Would I be interested in seeing NBA style? Would I be interested in seeing NBA style contracts coming to MLB? Obviously, the AAVs would be different, but could speed up offseason signings. NBA contracts are crazy. MLB contracts are crazy, though. So I'm not sure exactly what you mean about the difference in style there, because MLB contracts are insane. Pet Mets with a $10 donation. Thank you so much, my man. And I don't know how long the lockout's going to be. I just hope it's not long. I hope it's at most a month. Anything more than that, I'm going to be genuinely pissed off. I think just a couple weeks are going to bother me as it is, though. Don't shoot me by wouldn't mind Brad Ausmus as manager. He's still smart. I don't think it's an end all if the Mets have Brad Ausmus as manager. I agree with you on that one. And just like how everyone was freaking out about Billy Epler not doing well as GM, I think the same thing could be said about Brad Ausmus, knowing he had 2 winning seasons in, I think, 4 years during his time in Detroit, including, yes, Max Scherzer was a pitcher that Brad Ausmus was the manager of during his time in Detroit, and didn't do well in his 1 year with the Angels when he had no pitching staff to work with at all, and had an offense that, of course, was significant with only certain pieces led by Mike Trout. So I get why people are concerned if the Mets go down the Brad Ausmus route, but I understand why there should also be optimism if they go down that route either. I wouldn't hate it. It wouldn't be my personal preference for first pick, but just like Billy Epler and what he's proven to us so far, I think you can make that same argument for someone like Ausmus. He was a great player, great mind. You'd have to imagine that he would be able to transition better out of the managerial position sooner than later, especially with a roster that would be the best that he could work with. But again, we'll see. Good comment, though. Really appreciate that, Pet Mets. Type in the chat for Pet Mets. Who are your first 2 pick for manager? Probably the guy I've always liked is Joe Spada. He's never been an MLB manager. I've said that in my previous live streams, but he is someone that has great experience. He's been bench coach for a couple of years during his time with the Houston Astros, where he is currently with. Prior to that, he was third base coach for the Marlins and also the Yankees when Billy Epler was assistant GM in 2014. He was also the special assistant to the GM for Brian Cashman, that being and Joe Spada. So I like Espada. No IQ, just hit that nice shot. If you guys are watching the Knicks or the Nets game, then you know. And yeah, appreciate the kind words, everybody, as always. Tim LeCastro non-tendered. Yep, I'm aware of that. But the Mets are in a spot right now where when we look at the bullpen, because we haven't even touched on bullpen, we're almost 2 hours into this thing. Actually, we might have touched on it a little bit in like regarding non-tenders, but I want to talk a little bit more because as we talked in last night's live stream, guys like Andrew Chafin, Taylor Rogers, Brad Hand, Jeurys Familia are all of consideration right now. I think Chafin would be awesome. Rogers would be awesome too if you can get him at the right price trade-wise. Brad Hand, I'm not really in love with bringing back, but if the Mets do it, I can live with it if it's like a one-year deal and they just get creative with him. But Jeurys Familia is interesting. You know, we're almost 2 hours in the stream, and I'm finally bringing it up. Been trying to avoid it a little bit. But Jeurys Familia has been given some level of interest by the New York Mets to return. I don't know exactly how significant that interest is. And to be quite frank, I do not hope it is significant enough for him to return. Familia is someone who, again, can still get you outs. He looks electric some nights, but the inconsistencies, he gave up a career high in the amount of home runs in 2021. And, you know, he's just someone that I think the Mets can benefit parting ways with. You know, the guy should have never returned to begin with. Thank you, of course, and Bray Van Wagenen for that horrendous contract. But if you look at Familia's numbers in 2021 for the Mets and not even 60 innings pitched, he had a 10.92 K per nine, but he had a 4.10 walks per nine. So walk rate was a bit up. ERA 3.94 and home runs. Where's the home runs? He gave up 10 home runs in 2021 and not even 60 innings. The most home runs he ever gave up in a season was in 2019 with the Mets with 7 prior to that. And that was in just around the same innings. So again, Familia, I'm personally not in favor of him returning. I think most of you guys can agree on that. I know that some people don't mind the prospect of bringing him back, but I'm not one of them. So guys, let me know in the chat right now. Would you like to see Jeurys Familia coming back to the New York Mets on a short-term deal? Personally, I wouldn't. It wouldn't be the end of the world if it did, but personally, I wouldn't. I wouldn't like to see that happen. No? Yeah, that was as unanimous as I could ever see regarding anything. As MLB Joe says, who cares? Okay. That's funny, though. And again, folks, we're getting close to 500 likes in the stream. Thank you so much for that. Continue to smash that like and subscribe button if you're enjoying the live stream. Again, this very well could be the last. We'll probably do free agency live stream tomorrow, and if any breaking news happens in between, we will of course cover it. But it doesn't look like we're going to get we're going to have this is one of the last free agent live streams we're going to have probably for a bit. So definitely enjoy this one while it lasts, and hopefully, surprisingly, we haven't really gotten anything across the board MLB wise. We're a half hour to 10 p.m. at this point. Something might drag out late into the night. That one surprised me. Like I didn't even realize the Baez news, like that I was finalizing. It was originally reported at 2 a.m. I didn't even realize that until I woke up and I saw people tagging me in it. And then I saw that he was about to sign. I was like, oh, okay. I set the stream for one to talk about because I didn't really need to rush it. When's the next recorded video? We might get a recorded video out tomorrow or the following day. I would say best bet within the next day or so because I want to make sure we get the giveaway video out. Like I said, we're only a couple hundred subs away from getting to 12K. If we get a 12K within the next day or so, we'll do 3 giveaways on the channel. But if we don't, then we'll just do 2, which are still going to be 2 awesome giveaways for you guys. That, of course, would be, what you think they would be centric to the Mets. Just awesome, fun stuff that I think you guys would enjoy, preferably to wear. And yeah, so that's really it. The support has been immense to this point. So just know how much I appreciate you guys. We're not done with the stream yet. I'm just telling you guys how much I always appreciate everyone throughout the live streams and the videos. We're going to have endless videos coming, especially during the lockout. More live streams regarding plenty of different topics that are going on. And yeah, this will probably be the second to last free agency live stream we have for a bit. So, it would be awesome if we get some news while we're live here. And if we don't, then it is what it is at the end of the day. We'll see if anything happens before the actual deadline happens, which is, 11:59 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, December 1st. Let's see here. Ketel Marte would take multiple A-level prospects. I agree with you. It would. Oh, Aaron, I'm not going to be going anywhere, my man. We'll still be doing streams and videos and stuff. It won't be free agency. When there's nothing to talk about with free agency, when we have a standstill, there won't be anything to talk about. You know what I mean? But I did want to touch on a little bit before we just wrap things up, and I just open up to a normal full Q&A before we end the live stream. Couple more things. I'm going to touch quick on Twitter to see if anything further has been reported. Doesn't look like there has been anything at this point. Yeah, still nothing. Still nothing. Okay. This is from Robert Murray. Shout out to you in the chat for letting me know. In addition to Kris Bryant, the Seattle Mariners are expressing interest in free agent infielder Trevor Story. According to sources familiar with the situation, they've obviously already added Robbie Ray and Adam Frazier, but continue to seek an impact bat. Mariners again trying to continue to have a good offseason. I don't see how the Mariners get KB and Trevor Story. I could see them definitely getting one of them. But both, man, I would really like to see KB on the Mets. I don't know about you guys. Joey Fish, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Mets should sign Bryant, move Escobar a second, and put KB in outfield. Well, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Joey Fish, because why would you move Escobar to second but have Bryant in the outfield when there would be a hole at third base, and you're not putting McNeil at third base? So I'm not sure what you meant by that exactly, Joey. Let me know further in the chat what you meant. But again, appreciate the donation, my man. Really does mean a lot. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what you meant there. Billy McKinney got cut. I saw that. We should pick up Billy Mack just because. And Mets Nation, thank you so much for the kind words. Always appreciate that, my man. Appreciate everybody in the chat as always, folks. As we're just about at 2 hours here in the live stream, we'll as of now we'll go on at least another half hour, folks, and then we'll kind of read the room, evaluate the situation if we feel that we should continue or end things there, because we did touch on every topic for the most part. So now it's really open Q&A regarding all the latest news. Like if we find out news as it happens, then we'll continue to discuss it. I would love to have something to react about, but man, oh man, I just want to give a big shout out to Billy Epler though, Steve Cohen, and the New York Mets and how they've approached this offseason so far. Yes, I know that they have more work to do, and they're definitely going to do it. But to make the moves that they've done, especially with Max Scherzer on the wall behind me, and I got 2 Max Scherzer jerseys. I normally only get the New York Post ones just because of the fact that I think that they look nice, and like how they fit the frames. But I did get the Daily News one as well of the Meet the Max, which looks sick. So I'm going to frame this one too and put it somewhere in my room. I don't know if I'll put it on my wall behind me somewhere too or outside of frame because I'll give you guys a room tour eventually, but I have frames all around my room, like all around this thing, but you only see a handful of them. But yeah, love these. I don't know if you guys picked these up. They're sick. Oh, Cesar Hernandez to the Nats. What, signing? Okay. I mean, Hernandez was doing really good with Cleveland last year, then just absolutely, pardon my French, shit the bed when he was with the White Sox. Became more of a home run hitter. He had a very weird season in 2021. But I'm assuming that's what Heyman tweeted. I meant, or not. Okay, Joey, I got you. Thank you so much for the donation, my man. You guys can't see my room right now just because I have my camera set up. I can't show you it like that, but I'll give you guys a room tour eventually. Don't you guys worry. That way you guys can see Gigi, my bunny. She's laying down right now. If you guys know, you know. And we will get Gigi merch out. It's long overdue. We'll get it this offseason though. Thank you again for the donation. I appreciate that, Joey. Okay, Hernandez to the Nats, $4 million plus $1 million incentive. So Cesar Hernandez, who started his career, spent a good amount of time with the Philadelphia Phillies, was with Cleveland this past year, and now finds himself back in the NL East, but this time with the Washington Nationals. Oh, the Mets make it official? Let's go. Mets made Starling Marte official. Love that. All right, guys. Yeah, Starling Marte has officially been made official by the Mets. Oh, that's actually great. I'm glad that we brought up the Starling Marte signing because it was also made official through Ken Rosenthal earlier today. The terms of the contracts for Mark Canha and Starling Marte. I'll address them with you guys as well. Marte, I don't know what number Marte is going to wear. I don't know. Wouldn't he wear number 2? Or maybe not. Let me show you guys, though, Ken Rosenthal. If you guys didn't see it earlier today, it was announced by Ken Rosenthal the terms of the contracts for Canha. So let me Canha and Marte, and they're both really, really good. Especially that Canha one's awesome. Hold on, folks. I'm just trying to find. Okay, yeah. Mark Canha's official deal with the Mets is the following. Dom is number 2. Yeah, that's why I think that there's a decent chance Dom isn't on the Mets next year. So in that scenario, number 2 would go to Marte. Mark Canha's official contract with the Mets, a $2 million signing bonus, $12 million in 2022, $10.5 million in 2023, and a club option in 2024 for $11.5 million or a $2 million buyout. Chef's kiss. Love that deal. Starling Marte's contract, made official earlier by Rosenthal, $5 million signing bonus, a $2.5 million each payable on January 31st, 2022 and 2023, $14.5 million in 2022, $19.5 million in 2023 and 2024. So Marte from base is not making nearly as much as what he will be making in the following couple of years of his contract. So we'll see if that'll benefit the Mets too with the continued moves that they'll be doing in this win now stage. Left-handed relievers Mets could pick up. Avalon, no, Luis Avalon, I'm pretty sure signed already. Doolittle could be of consider. I don't know if Sean Doolittle would do great with the Mets, though. Maybe they can rekindle something with him, but Mets always beat up on Doolittle when he was with the Nationals. I don't know if that's a great pick. Tony Watson. Diekman is someone who I would be interested in, and Chasen Shreve I wouldn't be against the return, but obviously Andrew Chafin is the big man out of that one. And Carting the Chaos. Thank you so much for the kind words. Really appreciate that. But yeah, Doolittle, Chafin's my favorite pick by far out of that one. When they going to hire a new manager? I said this a bunch, but they're fully intending to hire a manager during the lockout, assuming that they have enough time to go through the managerial process, all the hiring process and stuff like that, and get it done. Who should you follow for notifications? I would follow like the main ones if you're looking just for news, even though that they can be annoying. John Heyman, Ken Rosenthal, Jeff Passan. But if you're talking strictly Mets, Michael Mayer does a fantastic job. Pat Regaz is really good. As annoying as this is to say, Andy Martino has been very strong on the beat this offseason. Those three for sure. Yeah, that's really all Mets wise. You can throw Anthony DeComo in there, Tim Healy. Tim does get some stuff done before, for others. If you're looking for prospects or minor leaguers, I know that Joe DeMeo does a great job, but also his partner for their show that they have on SNY for prospects. Why am I blanking on his name right now? Shoot. I don't know why I'm blanking so much. Come on. Think, Tyler. Think. Hold on, folks. Agree. It's a very rare core. It's very yeah. Jacob Resnick. Thank you. My goodness, I don't know why I was having a brain fart. Yeah, Jacob does a great job. Mike Puma. Yeah, you can throw Mike in there, but Mike's more on the side than anything else. Mike isn't usually one to break news. He's one to break some rumors, but Mike isn't the one to break as much news as the other ones. Michael Mayer, like I said, is on his stuff. Andy has been on top of it. As frustrating as I may be to say, I can't deny the fact that the guy that has been productive this offseason. Anthony DeComo announces things sometimes early, but more times when it's just made official and things of that nature. With the roster we have right now, I definitely see us being a better team than last year. But the Mets have more moves that they need to make. This is not a team that is done yet by any stretch. Where will Ward? I mean, Conforto. I hope Conforto, if he's going to go anywhere that he goes out, I would love him on the White Sox as someone who is a fan of the White Sox for the AL team. Thoughts on Stroman coming back? If he came back, that would be awesome for the Mets to have a number 3 as Stroman behind Scherzer. That would be insane. I don't think it's going to happen though, for multiple reasons. It doesn't look likely right now. And I would love KB too. I really, really would. But yeah, all I'm saying is just don't get sold on the notion that the Mets are, 1,000%, the favor for KB. There hasn't even been reports since the GM meetings originally began of any further contact with KB. At this point in time, at the time being live here, at the time of recording this, it's been nothing more than just rumors and speculation as to why KB would make sense now that you've lost out on Javy Baez. And the Mets do still need to add another bat. And as I talked about Kyle Schwarber earlier, and I'll talk about him again, I would love Schwarber as a DH. Schwarber at DH would be fantastic for the Mets to really help bring more home run power. But he's been connected with Phillies hard. He's been connected with the Marlins hard. It looks like he's going to go in the NL East, but it's not going to be the Mets, which absolutely sucks, knowing the fact that the guy hit 10 home runs against the Mets, splitting time with both the Red Sox and the Nationals in 2021. What's up, Shraken? How's it going, my man? Let's see. People don't like Martino because he's done so much clickbait. You have no idea. Martino has purposely put out so much articles and so much content to rile up Mets fans solely for clicks. He's done it endless times in the past. He's normally known for the guy being the purposeful hot takes and things of that nature. He knows damn well what he's doing, though. And SNY knows damn well what they're doing. Let's not forget that SNY is still bought by the Wilpons. So they still have that urgency to a certain extent to get clickbait out there, to get stuff that they know is going to stir the pot. Because regardless if it's positive or negative press, it's still press at the end of the day. And they're going to take advantage of that. That is where the Andy hate comes in. And he blocks everyone. He's like Marcus Stroman on Twitter. If you say anything that could remotely come up offensive to Andy, whether it's regarding like something about him or it's personal or politics, forget it. He'll block you right away. It is also 105-105 tied game between the Nets and the Knicks with under 2 minutes to go. Beltran next Mets manager? No, I don't see that happening. I really don't. But to reiterate, folks, what we've transpired with to this far, Kris Bryant contract, I wouldn't mind KB on a deal as long as it's not past 5 years. You can go shorter term, awesome, but you know, I don't see why the Mets would be eyeing a long term deal for KB to a certain extent with them not eyeing one with Baez. I understand KB has a lot more versatility, so keep that in mind. No, Penny. That's why we take bathroom breaks. Trust me. I know how to control myself. But KB is someone, he has that versatility like no tomorrow. Actually, let's take a moment and look at Kris Bryant's stats in 2021, how many games he played in each position, because he literally played in like 5 positions. It's ridiculous. And I'm sure KB does want a long-term deal. Okay, KB in 2021, he had 55 games at third base, 48 in left field, 39 in right field, 19 in center, 12 at first, and 1 at short. He literally played everywhere. He played 6 positions if you're including the 1 game at shortstop that I knew the Cubs did shortly before he got traded. He's been everywhere. 355 for Rodon is what you would like. Okay. Shrek, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I really appreciate that. Give us our 3 relief pitchers for replacements for Hand, Familia Loop. Talk about Trevino. Post his stats. Please focus on this. I will gladly do that for you, Shraken. In regards to relievers, like I said, Andrew Chafin, Taylor Rogers, and let's talk about Trevino as well. Let's go into Trevino's stats for a second because I haven't talked about him much. Trevino in 2021 had a 3.18 ERA, a 4.27 times ERA, so a significant jump. So he was clearly getting lucky with his ERA. Like Aaron Loop, because Aaron Loop had a sub 1 ERA in 2021, but he had a over 3 times ERA, which is your expected ERA. So that's where defense and luck comes into play. FIP at 4.48. Okay. Trevino, let's look at his K per 9, 8.19, walks per 9, 4.15. Damn. That's not great. Hold on. Let me look up his baseball savant. Yeah, baseball savant numbers aren't pretty for Trevino either. Again, I don't have great knowledge behind Lou Trevino. The 6'5", 235 pounder, 30 years of age. I don't know if I said 25. I didn't mean to say 25. He's done well in hard hit percentage and average exit velo and fastball velocity, but also has not looked great in a lot of the advanced numbers too. He has a 5-pitch arsenal: sinker, 4-seamer, cutter, changeup, curveball. Relies heavily on that sinker at 32.7%, 4-seamer 25.3%, cutter 18.1%, changeup 12.4%, and curveball 11.5%. And this is discussing obviously just in 2021. Fastball velo on average for a sinker 96, so he's got some heat, got some movement. I don't know if Trevino is someone the Mets would even target. I think that's someone that some of you guys are just proposing because of the fact that he's with the A's and the A's are trading everyone. Arcana was announced. Awesome. Love that. I'm in the chat, guys. So both Starling Marte and Marcana were officially announced now with the New York Mets. Max Scherzer and Eduardo Escobar will be on the way too. Love this. Trade for Manaea. I would love to trade for Manaea. I would love that. I'm all in on Manaea. Would be very happy if we trade for Manaea. Would not be against that at all. Yeah, the thing with Lou Trevino is regarding arbitration. You know, he's one of those similar, not to the same level, but like Sean Manaea, Chris Bassett, these guys, Frankie Montas, even Matt Chapman. Like, these are all guys that are probably going to be dealt, will be considered to be traded. Any news just up? No breaking news right now at this moment. No. The Mets have officially announced Starling Marte and Mark Canha, their signings. Nothing breaking at the moment. No. If anything, I feel like if we get breaking news, if it's going to be with the Mets, I don't see it happening until like late tonight. That'll be off stream. So if that were to happen, then we would just come back and go live again, because obviously I'm not going to go to bed until late tonight. But I don't know. I think it's a decent belief to say that the Mets won't do anything drastic again until the lockout's over. But I would, again, as I've been saying the past day plus, I would love to be proven wrong. Awesome, folks. We're just around 400 subs away from 12K. Continue to smash that like and subscribe button if you're enjoying the Mets content and all the latest news, rumors, and just discussions regarding the New York Mets this offseason, this free agency, trade talk, all that fun stuff. So, again, thank you all so much, folks. Really, really appreciate all the likes, subscriptions, donations, and the support. Like I said, help us get to 12K subs. I feel like we hit 10K yesterday. It's literally been a week, and we've almost gained, 2,000 more subscribers, which is nuts. And we're less than 30 likes away from 500 in the stream. So thank you so much, guys, for all the continued support, for the likes, the subscriptions, everything. Thank you all so much. Really, really appreciate you all. Revheads with the $5 donation. With Canha and Marte here for the foreseeable future, what's going to happen to Khalil Lee? Khalil Lee is going to get an opportunity to crack the Mets bench next season. That's him and Nick Plummer, who the Mets just recently signed. They're going to both, I would imagine, try to crack a roster spot for the Mets, out of spring training. So definitely keep an eye on that. Clearly, a lot of upside. Nick Plummer, a lot of upside as well. Yes, they're both going to try to have an impact of some sorts for the Mets in 2022 and beyond. Why not just go big with pitching and go for Kershaw? Well, Kershaw, I don't think is leaving LA, one, and I think two, he has significant injuries that he's dealing with still, which is exactly why I don't think that he's going to leave LA. The Mets are still in on pitching, though. They absolutely are. Yeah, I wouldn't see the Mets signing Boyd unless it's a one-year deal either. I agree with you on that one. Should the Mets trade JD? I think trading JD is like inevitable at this point. Am I saying that the Mets are giving Escobar a full-time job at third? As long as the Mets don't land a Kris Bryant or anyone of significance at third base, yes, Eduardo Escobar is their starting third baseman as of now, as your short-term option. And then if Brett Beatty over the next year or two is ready, right around when Escobar's contract will be done, Brett Beatty should be able to slot in. So yes, that is, as of now, the Mets starting second baseman is Jeff McNeil, and their starting third baseman is Eduardo Escobar, which is perfectly fine, but they definitely still want to add on more to that. Now, the question is, how much more are they going to add on more to that? We're going to find out. I do believe that they're still in the works of getting at least one more big name position player. It doesn't look likely that'll happen before the lockout, though. So that'll be something that we're going to have to wait a bit in the offseason for still, I'd imagine. Do we have any arbitration guys we need to sign in? Everyone's been tendered as of now, I believe. I haven't heard that anyone's going to arbitration currently. But there's still more details that needs to be hashed out. Do I think Graham gets traded to the Rays? Graham. Why? Or J-Ram. J-Ram could definitely get, if they don't land Kris Bryant, J-Ram could be of consideration. I know that they tried. Wow, the Knicks just tied it with 17 seconds left thanks to a 3-ball from Fournier. That's crazy. If you guys are watching the basketball game, then you know. Knicks Nets going wild. J-Ram is someone that the Blue Jays tried to go after at the MLB trade deadline, and they were not able to get a deal done because of the asking price from Cleveland. So, and you have to keep in mind, Toronto has a deep prospect pool and a lot of great young assets. So, J-Ram, of course, is going to cost you an arm and a leg. That was a big 3, though, by Fournier. Love that. I'm sure my boy Richie at Knicks, Mets, and Jets Media is going nuts right now. Mets have been signing ex-Diamondbacks. Maybe they'll sign Greinke. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to Greinke at all. I don't think Greinke is likely, though. I don't think he wants to come to New York. But at the same time, that's how I felt about Mad Max, and now here we are. So, I don't really have a dream coaching staff for the Mets, Freddie. I really don't. I'm very optimistic on how they're going to go about the coaching route. Khalil Lee actually did a fantastic job in AAA when it came to lowering down strikeouts, getting on base count. Khalil Lee was one of the best outfielders in all of minor league baseball in 2021. Do not put stock into his little stint in the MLB when he was rushed to the bigs because of the endless injuries the Mets had when he clearly wasn't ready. Do not put stock into that whatsoever. Let's look up Khalil Lee's numbers for a second just to further prove my point. Okay, Khalil Lee's numbers in 2021 in the minor leagues. And 292 at-bats, had himself 14 home runs, 37 RBIs, 8 stolen bags, a 274 average, 451 on base percentage, and a 951 OPS. A 451 on base and just under 1,000 OPS, guys. It's obscene. Absolutely, literally ridiculous. Mitchell Robinson really got a foul with 2.2 seconds left. Knicks are going to lose. That's unfortunate. Jason Beck tweet. All right, we'll go to Jason Beck quick. Okay, Matthew Boyd already drawing interest on the open market after being non-tendered. It's sad in the sense of a chapter closing, he said, but it's really exciting for what's next. I felt like I was throwing my best baseball last year, and now I'm tacking on a healthy arm. Okay. Yeah, like I said, the Mets have already been tagged to Boyd going back to yesterday, I believe. So wouldn't be surprised if they find themselves in the sweepstakes for him. Yeah, Nick's really about to just lose a heartbreaker because that, oh my God. They always play tight with the Nets. Damn it. That's game. Great game between the Knicks and the Nets. Heartbreaker loss, though. I'm just checking all my updates right now, folks. That's why I'm a little silent. So don't mind me. And just, we're 15 likes away from 500, guys. Help us get to the 500 goals always. And thank you so much for the likes and the subscriptions and all the support. Okay. Let's see in the chat. 52% of you guys do not think Mets will be making a signing tonight. And I think 52% of you guys are right. Out of right around 1,800 votes. Twister with a $10 donation. Thank you so much for that, my man. Really appreciate it. Mets should sign Mike Trout, Garrett Cole, Trevor Story, Tatis, every player on the Dodgers. Steve Cohen should buy every team and make them give their players to the Mets. Can we just take a moment to appreciate this donation from Twister? Speaking nothing short of facts. My goodness. I think that you should be president of baseball operations, Twister. Guys, can we agree on this? By no means am I being sarcastic. I'm backing this man as much as humanly possible. What a donation. What a comment. What a statement. Love that. Hype in the chat at Twister, folks. What a beauty. Yes, Gesellman was non-tendered by the Mets today. He could still sign a minor league deal with them, but I'd assume that his time with the Mets is done. Absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Twister. You're a beauty. I think we should ask Cole how it feels to be the fifth best pitcher in NY. Fifth? Who do you have outside of Scherzer and Jake ahead of Cole? Let me know. Fifth? What am I missing? More like sixth. Oh my goodness. You guys are something. Mad Bum trade, if Diamondbacks include a prospect, I could get with that. I could get on with the prospect of Brandon Bumgarner if we get a good prospect, like a decent prospect from them to take that contract off their books. I would be of interest to that. Mets non-tendered to Gesellman because he was barely healthy. He's been battling a lot of injuries in his career. Look, let's look at Gesellman's numbers. I meant to do that like in the beginning of the live stream, and we're almost 2.5 hours in. And they also have to keep in mind that Gesellman's, best friend is no longer with the Mets, so inevitably he would be going. I'm joking somewhat, that being Noah Syndergaard. Let's go, Mets. Thank you so much for your $2 donation. Will they extend Brandon Drury? Now, Brandon Drury's been a free agent, actually, so he ain't coming back. Pinch it, Kane. Appreciate the donation, though, my man. Really, really, really appreciate that. Hype in the chat for Let's Go, Mets. Yeah, everything has been slow. It has been slow. I do think it's going to pick up. I think it's going to just be stupid late tonight, though. Regardless on if it's regarding the Mets or not, like stupid late going into tomorrow morning. So we'll see. But yeah, Gesellman he literally only pitched 17 games in 2021. He pitched 6 games in 2020. 2019, he had 52 games, but he was beyond subpar. 2018, he was up and down, wishy-washy in 68. He was decent in 2018, actually. And in 2019, I'll actually give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. He had an expected ERA of 3.66. So clearly he had a bad defense and luck. That wasn't in his favor. But Gesellman just hasn't been healthy, and the Mets need to make room on their 40-man. So he was one of those guys that had to get kicked the can, unfortunately for his sake. What should the Mets do about manager? They're gonna be doing the interview process starting the lockout. They're gonna get the manager done. Hopefully they can get it done over the next month. That'd be awesome. But we'll see. Giovanni, we are not done. I assure you, we are not done. Marte, I don't know why you're comparing Marte to Nimmo. Marte would go in center. Nimmo goes left. Marte's a better defensive center fielder than Nimmo. Has a better arm in center than Nimmo. And you give the ability to put Nimmo in left, the position that he's more comfortable in, and also helps eliminate injuries that Nimmo inevitably gets every single year, in part from hustling his absolute tail off in that outfield. What's going to happen with McGill? He'll either stay with the team, try to compete for a spot in some sorts, or be traded. He could. Scherzer might have a say on who the next manager. Oh, and Brad Ausmus. That's what I was thinking. If anything, that could be. So watching the Knicks, you really didn't miss all that much. We were watching the Knicks and the Nets game too. Haven't missed all that much. Are the Mets making any more moves? We're not sure yet. Really don't know. But at this juncture, folks, that is about to wrap up the live stream. So I hope you guys did, in fact, enjoy. I would have liked to gone later tonight. But again, with how quiet things have been right now, there really isn't a point in trying to essentially drag out something when there's zero certainty. So what we know at this point is that the Mets are still very active. They're still interested in acquiring another starting pitcher and a position player. Who exactly they are, we have seen rumors and connections where Rodon, Kikuchi, and some others pitching wise. Batter wise, we've seen rumblings of Kris Bryant, even though that nothing has been of significance lately. They have been connected to some other players too. So we'll see if they can get something done before the lockout. It won't surprise me if they don't. But no less, trust me when I say they have a lot more great moves that they will be making this offseason. And again, expect another live stream probably at some point tomorrow. If breaking news happens late tonight, then we'll do it tonight. Just like when the Marte happened at midnight, we still covered it right away and had so much fun. So rest assured, if anything significant happens tonight, we will cover it. If not, we'll see what tomorrow brings. And again, tomorrow is the deadline, folks. So ideally, you need a good amount of time in between to get enough time to get those physicals in and all those types of things. So definitely keep those in mind over the next, half day. And we will see what comes of the Mets this offseason regarding free agency before the lockout. Again, hoping if we get some moves, that'd be awesome. But again, if we don't, it's not the end of the world. They're going to make plenty more moves once the lockout is over. Jaden, thank you so much for the $2 donation. What would a Nimmo extension look like? Nimmo, I think you can use a somewhat comparable thing like Byron Buxton, but cheaper. I think Nimmo, you can get him on probably, I would say, I think a 6-year deal would be a nice spot for Nimmo on I think 6 years at like 75, 80 million could work. This is all just hypothetical if you're asking for my opinion right now. And I know I was expecting a lot more moves at this point too. I agree. But again, that unfortunately I don't have control on that. But there is a good chance that we'll get moves like late tonight when everyone's sleeping. Just like we got the damn news about Baez at 2 a.m. last night. So again, we'll see, folks. Rest assured, you guys know the drill by now. #1 place on YouTube whenever breaking news happens. Anything and everything Mets. We'll be here to cover it when it happens. So hope you guys have a great night. Thank you all so much for the likes and subscriptions. As always, appreciate everyone's continued support in the live streams. We're always popping off, always doing great things. It's all because of you. So stay tuned for more great content. If not tonight again, then definitely at some point tomorrow, leading up to the actual official deadline of free agency heading into the lockout. So have a great night, folks. Love and appreciate you all. Talk to you soon. And as always, let's go Mets.